Chapter 849. Alright. Lin Rei didn't say anything else and didn't give the young man a chance. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself and would release his cultivation to kill this narcissistic kid. You stay here. I'll be back soon. He turned around and said to Su Ziqing calmly. Oh, I got it. However, before Lin Li could regain his composure, and before Su Ziqing could respond, the young man beside him tightened his grip on Lin Li's neck and pulled him towards the nearby forest. The young man used his cultivation to clear the way for Lin Rei. Finally, the two of them arrived at a quiet and deserted forest. The trees towered into the heavens and were extremely large. They blocked out the sun, but they were extremely bright. In addition, what caused Lin Li's body to tremble was the fact that these trees emanated a fragrance that caused Lin Li to feel relaxed and happy. What tree is this? Lin Rei asked subconsciously. He had never seen such a book before. This. The young man was surprised when he saw Lin Rei looking at the trees in front of him. Then, he smiled and said, "Big brother, it can't be. Isn't this a spirit origin tree?" Spirit origin tree? Lin Rei was confused when he heard the young man's introduction. He didn't know much about this tree. However, he liked the fragrance it emitted. Lin Rei liked it very much. As he thought about it, a long sword appeared in his hand. The young man's eyes were wide open and his expression was full of shock. He waved his long sword and chopped at the tree in front of him. Bang! Suddenly, the long sword was very sharp. It slashed through the tree without any hesitation. The tree fell to the ground. Rumble. However, perhaps because the tree was huge, it was more than 10 meters long and needed 3 people to wrap their arms around it. It fell to the ground with a loud bang, causing the ground to tremble. Seeing this, the young man was even more shocked. He didn't expect the person in front of him to be so fierce. He chopped at the tree without any warning. It's over. However, right at this moment, a bad thought suddenly appeared in his mind. What? What's wrong? Seeing the young man's expression change, Lin Rei was stunned and asked subconsciously. The soul origin trees are planted by the disciples of the Talisman Sect. Without the permission of the Talisman Sect's elders, no one is allowed to casually cut them down. Moreover, I heard that this soul origin tree is meant to be planted by the Talisman Grandmaster to build the Primal Chaos Pavilion. Now that you've cut down one of them, then, the young man's expression changed drastically as he thought of this. However, he did not leave immediately. Instead, he grabbed Lin Rei and tried to leave. No, we must leave this place quickly. If we are discovered by the members of the Talisman Sect, forget about joining the Talisman Sect, we will be lucky if we are not hunted down. The young man was afraid that Lin Rei would not leave, so he reached out and grabbed Lin Rei, wanting to drag him away. Unfortunately, he had underestimated Lin Rei's determination. Everyone who knew Lin Rei should know that as long as he, Lin Rei, set his mind on something, even if the Heavenly Emperor came, he wouldn't be able to change his mind. Even if the Heavenly Emperor came, he wouldn't be able to change his mind. Wait a moment. Let me take the loot first. After saying that, he used a little strength to break free from the young man's grip and walked towards the soul origin tree that was cut down. Damn! Are you crazy? Although the young man was shocked that Lin Rei had broken free from his grip, he was even more shocked when he saw Lin Rei walking towards the soul origin tree. The soul origin tree. That's right. This thing should have the effect of nourishing the soul and clearing the heart. If I use this thing to make a Dharma treasure, then... Looking at the soul origin tree, a plan started to form in his mind. If the young man knew about Lin Rei's actions, he would probably curse out loud. His mental strength instantly rushed out and wrapped around the soul origin tree. Then, he dragged it into his storage ring. After doing all this, a faint smile appeared on his face. Then, he turned around and walked towards the young man with an innocent look on his face. Damn! Beast! Lunatic! Seeing Linley walk over, the young man couldn't help but feel a bit more admiration for Linley. After doing such a thing, his state of mind was still so calm, without the slightest ripple. It was like the surface of a lake. Even if a fish swam past, it wouldn't cause the slightest ripple. Damn! Are you waiting for me? Regaining his composure from his admiration, he saw that Linley was nowhere to be seen. The youth's heart clenched, and he turned his head to scan his surroundings. In front of him, Linley was still there. It wasn't hard to see him. Hurry up. Otherwise, we won't be able to catch up. Without turning his head, Lin Rei said indifferently. Alas! Seeing how relaxed Linley was and how he wasn't disturbed by what had just happened, the young man sighed and turned around to chase after Linley. Hey, let me introduce myself again. I'm Lu Yuanqi from Tianfeng City. What about you? Lin Rei, from. Without turning his head, he slowly said to Lu Yuanqi, from Liaoyuan City. Although Lin Rei didn't spend much time with Lu Yuanqi, he deeply understood Lu Yuanqi's characteristics. He was talkative, and only knew one thing. His mouth was constantly chattering like a fly. Moreover, Lin Rei knew that if he didn't tell Lu Yuanqi his name, his ears wouldn't be free for a period of time. Damn! Lin Rei? This name is Tisk Tsk. Looking at Linley, Lu Yuanqi followed behind Linley, a look of curiosity on his face. He constantly asked Linley if there was anything fun or interesting to do in vast Origin City. Was there anything interesting? Was there anything interesting? In an instant, the nameless fire in Lin Rei's heart burned to his throat. If it wasn't for the fact that he was afraid of exposing his identity, Lin Rei would have already made him shut up. Of course, he wouldn't kill him. Instead, he would use a technique to subdue him and make him unable to speak for a short period of time. Just like that, Lu Yuanqi continued to ask questions. In the beginning, Lin Rei would respond with a sentence or two. However, as time went on, Lin Rei realized that Lu Yuanqi had the habit of asking for a yard after getting an inch. In the end, Lin Rei decided to just shut up. Then, he sealed off his hearing. Instantly, his ears became much quieter. At this moment, the two of them returned to the crowd. However, what gave Lin Rei a headache was that Su Ziqing didn't leave. Furthermore, it seemed like she hadn't taken a single step away. She was still in the same place as when he left. It seems that I won't be able to shake her off. Lin Rei shook his head helplessly. Then, he quickly walked to her side and said with a smile, "Let's go." Amen. Good. She nodded and didn't say anything. Then, she quietly followed Lin Rei. Who is so bold as to cut down the soul origin tree? However, not long after Lin Rei left, the three of them landed at the place where Lin Rei had cut down the soul origin tree. When they saw that the soul origin tree planted by the sect had been cut down and taken away, their faces were filled with anger. A murderous aura burst out of their bodies, as if it wanted to tear everything apart. Senior brother, please don't get angry. You've just made a breakthrough and haven't consolidated it yet. This will affect your cultivation. That's right, senior brother. We can't interfere in this matter. In my opinion, we should directly report this matter to the higher-ups. This is not a joke. You know, the soul origin tree was used to build the soul origin pavilion. Now that one is missing, it's a sin. Hiss. With that, the young man seemed to have thought of something terrible. His face suddenly turned pale, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Alas! Fine. How could he not know the importance of the soul origin tree? However, in the end, the three of them agreed to the previous proposal. Then, their figures flashed and disappeared. Naturally, Linley, who was currently climbing up the tree, didn't know what was happening in the forest. What he didn't know was that because of his whims, the construction of Primordial Chaos Pavilion, which had been waiting for 10,000 years, was once again delayed. Of course, the Seal Sect had sent out elites to search for this matter. After all, the construction of the Hunyuan Pavilion was very important. Now that it had been delayed, who wouldn't be angry if such a thing happened to them? At this moment, Lin Rei and the other two were slowly walking halfway up the mountain. Their faces were full of fatigue as they looked left and right. At this time, Lu Yuanqi, who was following behind Lin Rei, shouted with an unhappy look on his face. "I'm not going. How long will it take? Isn't it just a mountain gate? Why do you have to mobilize so many people? Can't you just fly up? F***ck, who is this? Why is he so fierce? Yes, indeed. He's sitting on the ground and making a scene. I'm afraid this man is a fool. Yes, indeed. Who is this man? I wonder how his elders taught him." At this moment, Lu Yuanqi's voice was so loud that everyone who passed by heard him. They pointed at Lin Rei and the other two openly. F***ck. Looking at the gazes of the people around him, Lin Rei was stunned. He then turned to look at Lu Yuanqi, who was sitting on the ground. At this moment, Lin Rei was furious. The veins on his head bulged and he looked like he was going to beat someone up. F***ck, can you do it? Look at where you are. This is the Seal Sect. This is the F***king Seal Sect. Do you think this is your Kong bed? Of course, even if it is your Kong bed, don't you have to take off your shoes to get on it? Lin Rei's explosive words stunned everyone around him. Even Su Ziqing was stunned. Ever since she knew Lin Rei had always given her an unfathomable feeling. But now, what about you? Do you think I don't want to fly there? Do you think everyone is stupid? Isn't it because the Seal Sect has set up a talisman that prohibits flying? As he spoke, he was afraid that Lu Yuanqi would not believe him. With a thought, a short sword appeared in Lin Rei's hand. Lin Rei had obtained this sword when he had just started cultivating. To the current Lin Rei, it was extremely weak. Seeing Lin Rei's actions, everyone was stunned. Then, they looked at the young man sitting on the ground sympathetically. At this moment, everyone thought that Lin Rei was going to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. However, the next moment, everyone was stunned. Lin Rei looked at the sky and squinted his eyes. Then, he exerted force in his arm and threw the short sword in his hand into the air. Whoosh, his speed was very fast. The people watching Linley watched as the flying dagger left Linley's hand flew 15 meters into the air. With a bang sound, the dagger instantly shattered and transformed into nothingness. Hiss, everyone who saw this scene couldn't help but be shocked, sucking in a breath of cold air. At this moment, Lu Yuanqi, who was sitting on the ground and watching this scene, had goosebumps all over his body. His whole body felt cold, as if it was not the dagger that had turned into nothingness, but him. Seeing Lu Yuanqi's expression, Lin Rei smiled and said, "Why? Do you still want to fly now? Of course, I won't stop you this time. On the contrary, I will help you." As he spoke, he extended his hand and walked forward with a strange smile on his face. Seeing Lin Rei like this, the surrounding people felt a chill and could not help but take a step back. Seeing Lu Yuanqi walking towards him with a strange smile on his face, he was startled and his face turned pale. He then smiled, stood up and ran up the mountain. As he ran, he couldn't stop begging for mercy. I was wrong, okay? Why are you so stingy, really? As time passed, his voice gradually disappeared from Lin Rei's ears. In response, Lin Rei smiled and looked relaxed. Damn, I can finally relax now. As he thought of this, he signaled to Su Ziqing and walked up the mountain. However, Lin Rei did not know that his action had not only alerted the people present, but also some old guys in the Talisman sect. At this moment, 10,000 meters above the mountain road, there were 4 white-haired, middle-aged men whose faces hadn't aged at all. Their gazes were locked onto Linley, who was walking down the mountain road. Looking at him, they looked at him with admiration. TSK, not bad, not bad. I didn't expect this little guy to be able to discover the rune prohibition in the sky. Yes, this little guy seems to have a certain foundation in rune prohibition. Moreover, this time, the sect did not tell them about the rune prohibition in the sky. Hiss, as soon as these words were spoken, the 4 of them looked at each other and the admiration in their eyes became even more intense. This is incredible. It seems like this little guy, don't fight with me. This little guy is mine. At this moment, one of the people dressed in black said. His voice was filled with determination and his expression was filled with excitement. He looked at the people around him cautiously. Why? This old man wants this little fellow. You all know that apart from my own granddaughter, I basically don't have anyone close to me. Now that one has finally appeared, I don't think you all will snatch it from this old man, right? Damn, this bastard. He's even trying to kidnap our feelings. The other 3 elders looked at the old man dressed in red and felt disdain in their hearts. However, they maintained a smile on their faces. That's right, Old Man Long. You also said that you only have your granddaughter, but you didn't say how many disciples you have. More than a dozen personal disciples. With so many personal disciples, it doesn't matter if you have one more or one less. So, bastard. Chapter 850. Take me in as a disciple? At that moment, 10,000 meters up in the sky, they were arguing about their disciple. However, they did not know that Lin Rei had heard their conversation very clearly. His gaze swept in the direction of the 4 old men in the sky. Linley's expression was strange, and a hint of disdain flashed through his eyes. 4 Grandmaster Talisman Masters want to take me in as a disciple. I can't believe you guys can think of that. Lin Rei could clearly guess who the 4 old men were based on their auras. They were either alchemists, weapon masters or rune masters from the Talisman Grandmaster from the Talisman Grandmaster. However, the 4 of them were all ultimate gods. Although they were all mid-stage ultimate gods, it was easy to deduce where they came from based on their conversation. They were either the supreme elders of the Talisman Grandmaster. There was nothing else. However, Lin Rei did not agree with their thoughts. Moreover, Lin Rei believed that a Grandmaster Talisman Grandmaster would not be able to become the master of an honorable Talisman Grandmaster. That would be courting death. More importantly, the 4 of them would not go to Lin Rei no matter what. Therefore, Lin Rei treated the 4 old men as clowns at most. Tisk, Lin Rei ignored them and continued to move forward. They had already covered more than half of the journey. Lin Rei maintained a refined smile on his face. As for Su Ziqing, he was the type of person who would not shed tears until he saw the coffin and would not act until he saw the hair. He had to find out Lin Rei's secret, otherwise, a day passed in the blink of an eye. The sky was dark and the sun was setting in the west. At that moment, the sky was dark and an invisible sense of oppression appeared. We're finally here. This is so King tiring. I wonder if the Talisman Grandmaster's disciples have to leave like this when they leave. Yeah, if I knew this would happen, I would have left long ago. It's so nice to stay at home and eat and drink. It's so comfortable. Sigh. What was the point of saying all this? Ah, aren't they already here? Really, I don't know what the old man is thinking. His family is obviously not bad, so why did he have to come here to be abused? Really? Sigh, hard times are coming. I really miss the carefree atmosphere of the past. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was also walking on the mountain road, heard the complaints of the people around him. The corners of his mouth twitched unconsciously, and the expression on his face became even more colorful. Sigh, these people nowadays really don't know how to cherish things. Don't they know that only by suffering the most hardships can one rise to the top? Really? Looking at the grumbling, depressed, and unforgettable people around him, he couldn't help but sigh. Of course, those who were able to come here were mostly people with perseverance and firm Tao hearts. Of course, perhaps some of them were forced to come by their families, but to be able to come here was already a blessing from the heavens. There would be those who were promoted, and there would be those who were not. Just like this path, Lin Rei could feel the pressure from it. Although it wasn't very strong, it was more or less a threat to these people. Lin Rei could feel that the person who was exerting the pressure was a godly master realm cultivator. Although there were people who gave up halfway, there were still 40 to 50,000 people in front of the mountain gate of the Talisman Sect. This was a very impressive number. Even if the entire Xuanzong sect was added up, there wouldn't be so many people. Looking at the black mass of people around him, Lin Rei smiled bitterly and thought to himself, I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect that one day, I would have to compete with these people for the position of the new disciples of the Talisman Sect. If this were to spread to the ears of those great sects, I'm afraid they wouldn't believe it. What's wrong? Su Ziqing, who had been paying attention to Lin Rei, saw the bitter smile on Lin Rei's face and asked curiously. Nothing. Lin Rei was speechless when he saw Su Ziqing's puzzled look. Lin Rei felt that getting to know Su Ziqing was the worst thing that had happened in his life. Sigh, damn. Lin Rei, you really made me look for you. Suddenly, a hand reached out from behind and grabbed Lin Rei's neck. Coupled with his loud voice, Lin Rei was startled when he wasn't paying attention. Lin Rei was very familiar with this voice. It was a nightmare that haunted him during this period of time. Who else could it be other than Lu Yuanqi? Turning around, Lin Li looked at the youth who had his hand around his neck. He felt a wave of helplessness. In this short period of time, he had actually encountered two weirdos. At this moment, Lin Li began to wonder if he had offended someone, for these two fellows to be so aggressive towards him. Can you pull your arm away from my neck first? You're strangling me. Lin Rei said. Of course, this was just an act. With Lu Yuanqi's cultivation, he shouldn't be able to strangle Lin Rei to death. Although Lin Rei was pretending, Lu Yuanqi was serious. The moment he saw Lin Rei's face turn red, he felt guilty and immediately let go of Lin Rei. He stood aside and smiled awkwardly. I didn't do it on purpose. I was just excited to see you. So I couldn't control my strength. Lu Yuanqi's guilty expression disappeared in the next moment. He waved his hand indifferently and said, besides, you won't blame me, right? Because of our relationship. At first, Lin Li felt a little guilty when he saw Lu Yuanqi's guilt. But at this moment, Lin Li knew that Lu Yuanqi's shamelessness had reached an unimaginable level. It was beyond his imagination. Regarding this, Lin Li felt extremely helpless. Since when had anyone dared to treat him like this? Pfft! Suddenly, a burst of laughter came from the side. Lin Li's face instantly fell. Turning his head, he saw Su Ziqing looking at Lin Li with her hands on her stomach. She couldn't hide the smile on her face. Bastard! Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei's anger was ignited. He raised his hand and was about to teach Lu Yuanqi a lesson. However, Just as Linley was about to raise his hand, a voice rang out. Upon hearing this voice, Linley's arm froze in midair, and he didn't continue. Cultivation. Everyone, please be quiet. I am the sect's deacon, Luha. I am here to receive all of you. When the voice was heard, everyone, including those who were fooling around, talking and cultivating, opened their eyes and looked in the direction of the voice. At this moment, a middle-aged man in green robes stood in the air and looked down at the crowd. There was no disdain in his eyes. Instead, they were filled with gentleness and peace. Everyone, I'm really sorry about today. The sky is dark now, and the sect doesn't have any extra rooms for so many people to stay in. Therefore, the sect leader has decided that everyone will stay here for the time being. After resting and recuperating, tomorrow is the time to participate in the disciple recruitment. What do you think about your cultivation? He did not force Linley, nor did he act overbearing. He did not act as though he was a disciple of the Talisman Grandmaster and he was amazing. Linley had a good impression of him. There were not many people like him in the cultivation world. Of course, Linley's thoughts were the same as everyone else's. Thus, someone quickly came to a decision regarding this matter. I agree with the sect leader's decision. All of us agree with the sect leader's decision. All of us agree with the sect leader's decision. Let's recuperate today. If there was a first, there would be a second. At this moment, there was a perverted person who agreed with the suggestion one after another. Luha, who was standing in the air, was very grateful. When Luha first received the task, he thought that it would be very difficult to complete it. After all, there were more than 10,000 people. However, it seemed like it was going smoothly. All right. In that case, thank you for giving me face. Luha cupped his fists and thanked the crowd. Deacon Lu, you are too courteous. The crowd returned the greeting politely. In order to blend in, Lin Rei lowered his head and bowed. However, among the 10,000 people, there was only one person who did not bow. Instead, he looked at Luha with a smile. This person was none other than Lu Yuanqi, who was standing beside Lin Rei. What are you doing? Hurry up and bow. At this moment, Lin Rei noticed Lu Yuanqi's expression and teased him. Of course, although Lin Rei said that, he was very happy in his heart. He even prayed, hurry up and catch him. Hurry up and take him away. If you take him away, my ears will be completely relaxed. However, Lu Yuanqi did not seem to hear Lin Rei's words. Instead, he continued to look at Luha with a smile on his face as though they had been good friends for many years. However, Luha, who was in the air, naturally noticed Lu Yuanqi, who did not bow. When he looked at Luha, the smile on his face grew wider. In a flash, he disappeared in the air. In the next moment, he was beside Lu Yuanqi. When Luha saw Lu Yuanqi's expression, he was full of smiles and sighed. He reached out his hand and stroked Lu Yuanqi's hair. He said dotingly, Xiaoqi, why are you here? Didn't grandfather forbid you from coming and asked you to stay at home and learn the family's cultivation method? If the old master knows about this, he will lock you up and make you reflect on your mistakes. What? What's going on? At this moment, after hearing Lu He's words and Lu He's actions, Lin Rei felt that this matter was not what he thought it was. As expected, in the next moment, Lu Yuanqi said, Oh, uncle, please forgive me. You know that I have always wanted to come out and play, but the old master forced me to stay at home and said that Talisman Taoism was a small Dao. I was not convinced, so I came here to try and prove that the old master was wrong. Lu Yuanqi said with an unyielding expression. This scene made Lin Rei stunned. It was as if Lu Yuanqi was the real Lu Yuanqi at this moment. Uncle, don't secretly tell the old master this news, okay? If I find out about it, I'll mess things up. You should know how destructive I can be. Don't mess things up when the time comes. Don't. At that moment, Lu He's neck shrunk back as he replied with a terrified expression, "Good nephew, I won't tell the old man, okay? Don't do anything rash. This isn't the Lu family. If you cause trouble here, no one will be able to protect you. Even if you beg me, I won't be able to do anything. You have to understand that." Okay, maybe I am thinking too much. Seeing this scene, Lin Rei immediately decided to re-examine Lu Yuanqi. At this moment, Lin Rei could not help but think of this sentence: a leopard can't change its spots. A dog can't change its habit of eating shit, and a pig can't change its humph. Hee, good that you know. Seeing that his uncle was going along with him, cooperating with him, Lu Yuanqi glanced at Lin Rei and said, "Uncle, this is the new friend I made today, Lin Rei." "Lin Rei, this is my, okay, uncle." Before Lu Yuanqi could finish, Lin Rei said, "I am Lin Rei. Greetings, Deacon Lu." "Lin Rei?" Looking at Lin Rei, Lu He's pupils shrank. He sized up Lin Rei and then smiled, "Hello, friend. Have fun with my little Qi in the future." Damn, you want to trick me when you just met me?" As the former sect leader, Lin Rei knew what Lu He was thinking. Of course, Lin Rei could not sit still and wait for his death. "Yes, I know that, but..." Lin Rei chuckled. He suddenly realized that his voice was full of conspiracy. "Look, you just met Lu Yuanqi. You should bring him back and have a good chat with him. Furthermore..." As he spoke, he was afraid that Lu He would not agree. He immediately opened his mouth and pressed on, "Look, there are so many people here. There are so many eyes. You also know your nephew's ability. You have to keep an eye on him. If anything happens to him, won't your grandfather kill you?" When Lin Rei mentioned Lu Yuanqi's ability, he inadvertently emphasized it. Hearing this, Lu He was about to say something else, but then he realized that Lin Li's words were absolutely correct. There were so many people here, including people from the various major clans and sections. He also believed in his nephew's destructive power and ability to cause trouble. Regarding this, Lu He hesitated, wavered. Go. Go back with your uncle first. You will participate in the preliminaries tomorrow. See you when you enter the Talisman Grandmaster." He did not wait for Lu Yuanqi or Lu He's agreement. He pulled Su Ziqing into the crowd and disappeared into the sea of people. The uncle and nephew of the Lu family were left behind. They stood there in a daze, staring in the direction Lin Li had left. Their hearts were in a daze. Damn, this. Half a minute later, Lu He seemed to have figured something out. He turned to look at his nephew, Lu Yuanqi, and was speechless. "Sigh, looks like I have to bring this little devil with me again," Lu He thought to himself. Anyway, he wouldn't have much interaction with Su Ziqing in the future. Thinking of this, he watched Su Ziqing's figure disappear completely. He smiled and shook his head. Then, he turned and walked in the opposite direction of Su Ziqing. This was exactly what Lin Rei wanted to happen and the result he wanted. Now that the two weirdos had disappeared, Lin Rei's world suddenly became clear. Phew. It's finally completely peaceful. As he spoke, he used his consciousness to check the appearance of the people around him as he walked. Lin Rei didn't care much about the people around him. Most of them were divine masters or divine emperors. Of course, there were divine emperors as well. As for divine emperors, there were only a few of them. After all, if a clan or an emperor clan had divine emperors, it meant that the clan or emperor clan was very powerful. Since that was the case, why would they participate in the recruitment of the Talisman Grandmaster? Of course, there would also be a small group of people who would go back to eat. Some of them were rogue cultivators. After all, the Talisman Grandmaster was one of the 7 sects and had a strong foundation. If they could cultivate in such a paradise, their cultivation speed would increase greatly. Looking at the cultivation levels of the people around him, Linley could only shake his head the entire time. Sigh. Looks like there's no face here. Most of the cultivation is like this. There's no surprise at all. Lin Rei's eyes were filled with disdain. And then, just as Linley was thinking this, the divine sense he sent out confirmed that it had landed on a certain person. It was a young man in a white long robe. His body was straight like a sharp sword and he gave off a sharp feeling. Not bad. Born with sword bones and the blood flowing in his body is extraordinary. Moreover, his cultivation is at the Divine Emperor realm. This person. TSK, not bad. However, just as Lin Rei's gaze fell on the young man in white, the young man seemed to have sensed something. He turned his head and fixed his gaze on Lin Rei. At that moment, their eyes met. At that moment, when the young man in white saw Lin Rei, his body trembled and his heart skipped a beat. What's going on? Why does this person give me such a feeling? Even my teacher can't do that. As he thought about it, he used his consciousness to check on Lin Rei. What? True God realm? How is that possible? At this moment, after a few breaths of time had passed, the white-robed youth was completely stupefied. He stared blankly at Linley, a look of confusion on his face. A true God realm cultivator could make him, a divine emperor realm expert, tremble with just a glance. It was impossible anywhere else. However, it really happened here and it happened to him. It was a great blow to him. Oh, interesting. Seeing the look in the white-robed youth's eyes, Linley was startled. Revealing an amused smile, he strode towards the white-robed youth. At the same time, when the young man in white saw Lin Rei's action, he couldn't help but move towards Lin Rei. The young man looked helpless. What's your name? Where did you learn from? From what I can see, your bones are clear and distinct, and you have the appearance of a cultivator. Thus. At this moment, Linley suddenly spoke out. Although it was a bit abrupt, the youth still responded. Looking at the young man, Linley couldn't help but laugh and tease him, an amused smile on his face. Hearing those words, the young man was stunned. His expression darkened, and he was about to make a move. However, at the instant he made his move, the gaze from before suddenly appeared. In an instant, the young man who was originally full of vigor was like a deflated balloon. His earlier vigor was gone. At this moment, the young man was angry but he didn't dare to say anything. Although he could sense Lin Rei's cultivation, he felt that Lin Rei was not simple. He stopped and forced a smile on his face. He asked, I'm Jian Feng, Jian Yulin Dragon God's disciple. May I know who you are, Jian Feng? Hearing the young man's words, Lin Rei was puzzled. It was a good name, but the name Jian Yulin Dragon God did not have any influence on this person at all. He must be a great person. However, he must be an extraordinary person. After all, his disciple had a proud and unyielding character, and his sword bones were sharp. If he wasn't a capable person, he wouldn't have been able to teach Jian Feng such powerful sword skills, let alone nurture him to such an extraordinary level. I'm Lin Rei. As for my master, I should be referring to myself. I'm just a rogue cultivator. Before brother Jian Feng died, I'm not even worth mentioning. Jian Feng regained his senses and looked at Jian Feng. Lin Rei? Hearing Linley's self-introduction, Jian Feng frowned for a moment before regaining his composure. What are you talking about, fellow Taoist? I'm not any better. Master is always alone. Even now, I haven't seen him in 100 years. Lin Rei shrugged and glanced at Xianfeng. Finally, his eyes fell on the long sword in Xianfeng's hand. TSK. Not bad. This sword looks extraordinary. The sword qi on it is so strong that it makes one's hair stand on end. It's a good sword. Hearing these words, Xianfeng instantly tightened his grip on his long sword. His eyes were filled with caution as he stared at Linley, his expression extremely guarded. As a sword cultivator, the sword in his hand was equivalent to his life. No one could touch it. Whoever touched it would die. However, looking at Lin Rei, Xianfeng had an illusion that he was not a match for him. Moreover, it was to the extent of being beaten up. Xianfeng's illusion was very accurate. Indeed, Lin Rei could suppress Xianfeng with just a lift of his hand. Not only in terms of cultivation realm, but also in terms of sword Dao. Rumble, suddenly, just as Lin Rei's eyes fell on the long sword in Xianfeng's hand and his eyes were filled with admiration, a loud explosion pulled Lin Rei back to reality. A ray of golden light shot up to the sky from the depths of the Talisman Sect. Waves of powerful energy fluctuations spread out in all directions with the golden light as the center. At the same time, the spiritual energy within 100,000 feet radius seemed to have a consciousness of its own. All of them rushed towards the direction where the golden light had appeared. This scene attracted everyone's attention. Generally speaking, there were a few explanations for this energy. First, of course, it's the birth of a heavenly treasure. Second, it's the appearance of an ancient relic or an ancient tomb. This can also cause a strange sound. Third, this third one is very normal. When someone breaks through to the sage state or a powerful realm, a series of strange sounds will appear. Of course, the crowd was still unaware of the above three situations. No one knew what had appeared that could cause such a powerful strange sound. Heavenly treasure. It must be a heavenly treasure. Yes, it must be. Ha, looks like we didn't come here in vain. I didn't expect to encounter such a thing. Yes, as the saying goes, the heavenly treasure will belong to the fated one. This is the will of the heavens. At this moment, the crowd was discussing. Lin Rei smiled. At this moment, if Xiaofan was here and saw Lin Rei's smile, she would know that Lin Rei was coveting something. Sigh. It looks like we can't suppress that thing anymore. Yes. After all, it's not a divine weapon. Moreover, it's a natural spiritual treasure of a higher realm. It has been cultivating since the ancient times and it has already cultivated a consciousness. If we want to suppress it, the ancestor who founded the sect has to be reborn. Otherwise. Sigh. Natural spiritual treasure. If this thing is controlled by the sect, won't it be just around the corner for me to break through to the honorable level rune master? I might even be able to prove my way with runes. Who knows? As they spoke, the crowd could not help but feel that it was a pity. An old man spoke when he saw everyone's regretful expressions. All right, let's stop talking. Let's do our best to suppress it. At the same time, send someone to inform the tens of thousands of new disciples in front of the sect. Tell them that the golden light that is being emitted is the result of a natural treasure dyeing their hair. Now, the sect has decided to set this as the first test. Whoever is able to walk within 100 meters of the golden light will pass. If he is able to walk within 50 meters of the golden light, he will not need to participate in the later part of the competition. Chapter 852. Yes, I know. Lin Rei, who was still excited, had a serious look on his face. When the golden light appeared, his mental strength was instantly threatened. It was like a venomous snake waiting for an opportunity to strike. It stared at him with greed and desire. The thing in the golden light is not simple. It can make my mental strength feel threatened. You can imagine how powerful it is. Moreover, as he spoke, he smiled and continued, moreover, even if you didn't tell me, do you think I wouldn't go and check it out? You should know that fortune comes from danger. Hee, you brat. After not seeing you for so long, I didn't expect you to still have this bad habit. However, I like it. Ha ha ha. At this moment, the two of them looked at each other and laughed. Their laughter was so loud that the surrounding crowd looked at Lin Rei in confusion. Who is this person? Why is he so presumptuous in public? Yes. Who is this person? Could he be a fool? Yes, I agree. This person might be an idiot. Moreover, his cultivation base is so low. He is only at the true God realm. Yet, he dared to participate in the Talisman Grandmaster's recruitment with such a low cultivation base. Moreover, he even passed the ancient mountain path. Of course, there was also sympathy when there was contempt. Some people despised Lin Rei, but there was also a group of people who pitied Lin Rei. Sigh. What a pity. His brain is damaged at such a young age. Otherwise, with his looks, he might be able to achieve great things. Yes. However, I don't believe that he is only at the true God realm since he was able to pass the ancient mountain path. Yes, I agree. Let's see. Perhaps this person will be able to show off his skills this time. Let's see. Everything is unknown. Lin Rei felt that the surrounding people's comments, disdain, contempt, doubt, pity, and sympathy were all jokes. Moreover, Lin Rei could not hear the discussions of the surrounding people. At this moment, Lin Rei was still immersed in the fact that the little dragon had woken up. He was unable to extricate himself. Are you alright? A weak voice entered Lin Rei's ears. Suddenly, Lin Rei paused. His smile disappeared, and he looked down. At this moment, Jian Feng was looking at him with confusion. His expression was extremely interesting. You haven't? Lin Rei had assumed that Jian Feng would choose to leave, but who would have thought? No. How could I leave without greeting you, fellow Daoist? Also. As he spoke, his gaze turned to the golden light in the distance. His expression became serious as he said, that thing should have appeared. So. I would like to ask fellow Daoist to be my partner. If you can obtain that thing, that would be the best. What? That thing? What is it? Although he knew where Jian Feng was pointing, he did not understand what the thing he was talking about was. Moreover, the most important thing was that he wanted that thing. After all, it was something that the little dragon wanted. As for forming a team, Lin Rei had not thought about it. After all, with his strength, Lin Rei was confident that he did not need Jian Feng. Hearing Lin Rei's question, Jian Feng was stunned. Then, he froze on the spot. His expression was full of hesitation and solemnity. It seemed that he was making a difficult decision. Well, you don't have to say it. In any case, I probably won't be able to come into contact with that thing. After all, with my level of cultivation, I probably won't be able to obtain it. Since he was putting on an act, he had to go all the way. After he finished speaking, his face was filled with disappointment. Linley's performance was more realistic than real gold. No, I will tell you. But you have to promise me that you will not let a third person know. Otherwise, you will be hunted down. At this moment, as if he had made a decision, the hesitation in his eyes turned into determination. All right, tell me. With a smile, he waved his hand and 2 chairs appeared in front of him. In response, Lin Rei gestured for Jian Feng to take a seat. Then, he sat down and looked at Jian Feng seriously. Sigh. Jian Feng sighed as he looked at Lin Rei. Then, he sat down. After hesitating for a while, he spoke. Xiaofan spoke. Actually, I am not from the Talisman Grandmaster. I believe you can tell that I am a sword cultivator. Therefore, it is impossible for me to change my mind. However, a few years ago, something happened. As he spoke, Xiaofan looked ahead and was stunned for a long time. It was as if he had entered a deep memory. I remember it very clearly. A few years ago, my master suddenly came to me and told me that a very powerful innate spiritual treasure would appear in the Talisman Grandmaster. This item is known to all cultivators. It is an item left behind from the primordial era. I heard that this item can train a cultivator's mental strength. The user could quickly become a talisman master, an alchemist, a weapon refiner, and a formation master. Moreover, the final requirement was for this item to be in the shape of a pen. This was the most difficult thing for a talisman master. Of course, there were pros and cons. Although this thing was very good for cultivators in all aspects, the only downside was its power. Its power was beyond one's imagination. Even divine venerables couldn't subdue it and could only suppress it. This was something that only several divine venerables working together could do. Oh! Upon hearing Xiaofang's words, Lin Rei's face was filled with anticipation. Most of what Xiaofan said was what the little dragon had told him. However, Lin Rei had never heard of an innate spiritual treasure. Moreover, it was in the shape of a pen. Of course, Lin Li wasn't interested in these things. Especially when he heard about connate spiritual treasures, Lin Li raised his eyebrows and his eyes flashed. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was walking, stopped. He turned around and looked at the place where the heart of the Sky Destroyer appeared. He saw a middle-aged man who was not dressed extravagantly but gave off an unfathomable feeling. An early ultimate god. He is either an elder or a sovereign. It seems like the Talisman Sect is quite powerful. After saying that, Lin Rei was slightly happy. He did not leave but waited at the same place. He waited for the early ultimate god middle-aged man to appear. Similarly, after Lin Rei discovered the middle-aged man, other people also discovered him one after another. In the end, when the middle-aged man completely appeared in front of everyone, the crowd finally came back to their senses. He stood in the air like Lu He. However, there was one thing that was different from Lu He's eyes. Lu He's eyes were filled with peace and tranquility. However, the middle-aged man's eyes were filled with disdain, contempt and disdain. Seeing the middle-aged man's reaction, Lin Rei was stunned. His face turned gloomy and his heart was filled with displeasure. *CK, if it wasn't for the fact that I have something important to deal with, I would have killed you with a slap. Do you think you have the right to look down on me? Of course, that was only his imagination. His rationality was not swallowed by his displeasure. Therefore, no matter how displeased he was, his expression remained the same. At the same time, the surrounding people also had the same feelings as Lin Rei. They were filled with displeasure toward the middle-aged man. However, the ladies thought about it and did not show it. After all, they were at a higher rank and it was not good for them to make things awkward. This Xiaofan is the Talisman Sect's sovereign. It is our Talisman Sect's honor to have his cultivation returned to our sect. Therefore, she is the only one who said the polite words. Next, I will introduce the rules and events of the competition to everyone. After saying that, Xiaofang's voice became louder. It even contained a trace of his early ultimate god source energy. He was curious as if he was afraid the crowd would not be able to hear him. I believe everyone has already seen that a heavenly treasure has appeared in our sect. Therefore, it is considered an imparting of scriptures. The original entrance examination has been cancelled and replaced with another one. After saying that, Xiaofan pointed at the golden pillar behind the heavenly treasure and said, that is the main point of the sect's entrance examination. The first stage is also the golden pillar. After saying that, Xiaofan repeated the words the old man had said to him without missing a single word. The first stage is the great chaotic battle. Whoever is able to walk within 100 meters of the golden pillar will pass. If he is able to walk within 50 meters of the golden pillar, he will not need to participate in the later stages of the competition. He will directly advance and become a member of the Talisman Sect. Of course, if someone is able to walk within 10 meters of the golden pillar, his treatment will be doubled. Not only will he not need to participate in the competition, his status will also rise again and he will immediately become a core disciple of the sect. What? Such a good thing? At that moment, after hearing that the rewards for the first stage were all like that, everyone present had an expression of disbelief. After all, in their opinion, the same sect competition would be very easy. However, they had underestimated the strength of the golden pillar and overestimated their own strength. Of course. Seeing everyone's excited and emotional appearance, Xiaofan's expression couldn't help but become cold. He continued, of course, there will be casualties in the great chaotic battle. On the way to the golden pillar, I have specially set up an ancient battlefield. It can hold so many people inside. Of course, life and death are determined by fate. This time, whoever is able to come out will be the strongest. Hiss, at that moment, everyone couldn't help but sigh. They didn't expect the first stage of the examination to be so exposed. When they thought of their children, they felt a headache in their hearts. There were even some people who started to feel sorry for their children as they wondered if they would be bullied. In the second stage of the taming battle, the top 20 can enter and subdue them. The heavenly treasure will be obtained by those who are fated. There is no need to force it. The third stage is even simpler. After obtaining the heavenly treasure, you will be on the stage and be attacked by the top 20 cultivators one after another. You can fight back as long as you have the ability to. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. How was this a test? This was clearly a battle between a human and a demonic beast. How can it be like this? You can't. You can't. I don't want to cultivate anymore. Let's go. Son, let's go home. Yeah, let's go home. After all, this isn't a place where we can stay. Let's just leave. Otherwise, we'll lose our lives. Yeah. Son, let's leave quickly. If there was a first, there would be a second. At that moment, everyone was hesitant. Facing such a cruel rule, everyone was shocked. In the past, everyone understood that the Talisman Sect was different this time. Moreover, the person on the sect master's position had also changed. Everyone didn't understand why. At that moment, what they cared about the most was their son's safety. Chapter 853. Xiaofan naturally heard the endless discussions below, but he did not stop them. Instead, a look of disdain appeared on his face. This was because in his eyes, these people merely wanted to rely on his Talisman Sect to become the power behind their sects and clans. Xiaofan naturally did not respect this. Instead, he became even more unscrupulous because of this. Initially, he knew how to restrain himself, but later on, he could no longer control himself and simply did not care anymore. Heh, little thing. Wait until I become the master of the Talisman Sect. See how I'll play with you. Now, I'll let you enjoy your last days here. It would be a lie to say that the crowd was not angry when they saw Xiaofan's actions and his expression. Of course, they could not go out now. Lin Rei was also very helpless about this. The mission issued by the system did not allow him to use other forces. He had to become the master of the Talisman Sect by himself and could not rely too much on his martial strength. This made Lin Rei feel very helpless. There was no other way. Time passed by slowly. The discussions gradually came to an end and the place gradually quietened down. Lin Rei was happy to hear this. He finally did not have to listen to some people's chatter. After a while, the place finally became completely quiet. At the moment when the place became quiet, a ray of morning light appeared and illuminated the boundless divine region of the God world. Squeak squeak squeak, the sky was bright and the sound of birds lingered in their ears. Coupled with the dense fragrance of flowers on the mountain, when they sensed this at this moment, their spirits were lifted and a relaxed smile appeared on their faces. Lin Rei's originally relaxed heart became even more relaxed at this moment. Some of the hidden troubles in his heart were completely thrown to the back of his mind at this moment. However, when Lin Rei felt that his body was completely in the air and his heart was at peace, a strange feeling spread throughout his body like an electric current. Lin Rei was stunned by this. What's going on? Why do I feel that my state of mind and cultivation have improved a lot at this moment? Moreover, I can even feel the barrier to the late stage of the Supreme God realm. Although it's just a little. His expression was filled with disbelief, and this feeling came all of a sudden, without any warning at all. Alas! A sudden sigh entered Lin Rei's ears. Lin Rei froze on the spot with a blank expression on his face. His mind jolted as he entered the system. At this moment, the little dragon was standing in the distance in a space within the system, looking at Lin Rei with a guilty expression. You don't have to make a fuss. It's normal for you to break through your realm and cultivation. Hearing this, Lin Rei looked over with a puzzled expression. He didn't quite understand the little dragon's words. Seeing Lin Rei's confusion, the little dragon explained, "You've killed far too many people ever since you started cultivating. When you kill people, you'll generate killing intent. After such a long time, the killing intent in your body has condensed to an extremely terrifying level. However, it's also because you haven't properly restrained and refined this killing intent that it's been extremely difficult for you to break through to your current level of cultivation. As a result, your current breakthrough is much slower than others." What? Then what do I do? Hearing the little dragon's explanation, Lin Rei's expression darkened. He didn't expect this to be the reason. At this moment, Lin Rei seemed to understand a little why he needed to break through to the next level of cultivation. Now it seemed that it was because he had unintentionally cast aside all burdens temporarily. There's a way. The little dragon answered all of Lin Rei's questions. Just like you did just now, enter a state that ordinary people can't be any more ordinary. Let yourself completely empty and throw away all burdens first. I believe that in this state, it won't take long for the killing intent to be refined and restrained. When that time comes, the breakthrough will naturally come naturally. Really? Hearing this, Linley was puzzled. He asked. Yes, really. In disbelief, the little dragon nodded solemnly. All right. He didn't refute. He believed the little dragon's words. After all, the little dragon had saved him many times. The two of them were like teacher, friend, and family. I understand. When this matter is over, I'll deal with the killing intent in my body. When that time comes, I should be able to live a peaceful life. In an instant, the originally bitter face revealed a trace of a smile. Hee, that's right. Why do you have to work so hard every day? Right? Looking at the little dragon, Lin Rei rolled his eyes. As the saying goes, if you don't manage the household, you won't know the cost of daily necessities. At this moment, Lin Rei felt that this sentence was very accurate. All right, hurry up and leave. The first competition outside seems to be starting soon. When that time comes, do your best to obtain that banished immortal brush. Yes, understood. Saying that, he waved his hand at the little dragon and left the space. However, the moment he left, Xiaofan's voice filled with disdain and coldness entered his ears. Alright, since the sky is already bright, let's begin. What? We're starting right now? Yeah, how are we supposed to start? At this moment, everyone was stunned when they heard Xiaofan, and then they swept the surroundings with their gazes before their faces instantly darkened, and they started to refute. Starting from here, do you see where the golden light is? All of you decide the path yourselves. So long as you arrive before the golden light, then all of you can become disciples of the sect according to the rules of the Grand Tao. As he spoke, a strange smile appeared on Xiaofan's face. Of course, it's a chaotic battle, so it's naturally not so easy to pass through. On your path, there will be your future senior brothers and senior sisters that will spar with all of you. The victor of the spar can pass through, and as for the loser, I don't have that, and I'll do my best. Oh, I forgot to tell all of you that all of you can obstruct each other earlier. In this chaotic battle, life and death don't matter. Bang! Everyone present was stunned by his explanation. These rules were too cruel, and life and death didn't matter. Moreover, there were even disciples of the Talisman sect setting up ambushes along the way. This caused some of them to feel a wave of displeasure and worry in their hearts. Of course, if you're afraid now, then all of you can withdraw. If you're not afraid, then let's begin. The time limit is 1 day, and the end will be at sunset. Those who don't arrive before sunset will automatically forfeit. As he spoke, Xiaofan looked at the furious expressions and faces of the people below and sneered, "Now, let's begin. I believe that some of you will be able to become disciples of my Talisman sect." Swoosh, after he finished speaking, he didn't wait for anyone to refute or reply before he turned around and transformed into a ray of light that instantly disappeared on the spot, and charged towards the depths of the Talisman sect. Fuck, he's leaving just like that? Everyone was stunned as they watched Xiaofan's figure disappear into the distance, and then they started to complain to Xiaofan without hiding anything. Alas, alright, stop complaining. Since it's already like this, what else can we do? Don't participate? Then what's the point of coming here? Yeah, I don't believe that the disciples of the Talisman sect are that amazing. At any rate, I'm the son of a city's governor. I don't believe that the disciples of the Talisman sect are that amazing. Humph. Alright, since that's the case, then let's, swoosh, a black figure instantly flashed past, and everyone reacted. When they looked over, they saw a white-clothed young man holding a 3-foot-long cold sword in his hand. His eyebrows were dashing like swords, and his expression was cold. His speed was as fast as lightning as he charged towards the golden light. Fuck, who is that? Everyone was shocked and the young man left, and their originally calm hearts began to stir. However, among the crowd, perhaps only Lin Ray knew who the person who had just left was. Lin Ray frowned as he looked in the direction the young man left, and an interesting smile appeared on his face. Heh, it seems like I have to be a little more serious. I didn't expect that kid's footwork to be so powerful. Thinking of this, he smiled and shook his head. He ignored the crowd, and lifted his foot. Every step he took covered 100 meters, and he instantly disappeared before everyone's eyes. Although Lin Ray had suppressed his speed to the minimum, it was still not something that the crowd could compare with. Although Lin Ray had not used his cultivation at that moment, Lin Ray's physical body alone was comparable to a peak ultimate god or even a half-saint expert. Even if Lin Ray had suppressed his physical body, the crowd still could not compare with his half-saint physical body. Lin Ray left quietly. No one knew how Lin Ray left, and no one saw Lin Ray's figure clearly. When the crowd saw the white-clothed young man leave, they could no longer wait and began to move. Although they knew that there was a bottom line in front of them, when they thought of the natural treasures in the golden light, their originally worried hearts were extinguished by their desire. Damn it, let's go. After all, we are here to enter the Talisman Grandmaster. Now that we are here, how can we retreat in the face of difficulties? Alright, hahaha. Since that's the case, why don't we travel together? At this point, we can even help each other. Who knows, our chances of entering the Talisman Grandmaster will be much higher. Hehe, coincidentally, this is what we are thinking. The thoughts of these few people were understood by the surrounding crowd. At that moment, the crowd began to move and form alliances. There were groups of 2 people, 10 people and even 20 people. There was no upper limit. Time passed by very quickly. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. Everyone was preparing to form an alliance. After that, they moved and rushed towards the depths of the Talisman Grandmaster. Hehe, it seems that there will be quite a number of disciples recruited this time. Furthermore, I saw a girl just now. Her cultivation is at the late stage God Emperor realm. It seems this time, TSK, that's right. But why do I keep having a bad premonition in my heart? I feel that something is amiss. Who cares? Since we are already here, we should hurry up and explore. This way, when we leave or something happens, the sect will not fall into desolation due to a lack of talented disciples. That's right. At this moment, the 4 old men who were 10,000 meters above the sky watched as the groups of participants left. They felt excited in their hearts. Alright, let's hurry up. I still want to see if I can find a suitable disciple. Hehe, you old geezer, TSK, I never expected that there would be such a beautiful scene within the Talisman Sect. Could it be a paradise? Within the Talisman Sect, there was a small mountain path. After leaving the Talisman Sect's entrance, Lin Rei walked at a moderate pace. However, after arriving at this place, the scenery attracted Lin Rei's attention. There were not many places that could attract his attention, but this place had attracted his attention. The mountains and rivers were connected, and there were flowers and grass. However, what attracted Lin Rei's attention was not these, but the small wooden house beside a stream. The scene and the existence of the small wooden house made Lin Rei's heart, which had been slightly stirred, calm down the moment he saw the scene in front of him. Is this the feeling? Lin Rei muttered to himself as he felt his cultivation slowly increasing. TSK, it seems that I have to end this matter quickly. Otherwise, I won't have much hope of breaking through to the Sage Realm within 500 years. As he thought about it, his originally calm heart stirred again. His heart tightened, and he forced himself to walk out of that state of mind. Ha! A self-mocking smile appeared on his face. Then, he turned his head and no longer looked at it. He lifted his foot and was about to leave this place that had brought him peace and tranquility. However, things were often not as they seemed to be. Oh, is this the new disciple who came to the Talisman Sect to participate this time? TSK, I didn't expect you to only be at the True God realm. What a pity. A voice suddenly sounded. Lin Rei's body paused. His face was ice-cold as he turned his head to look. At this moment, a young man wearing a red long robe was walking on the path ahead. There was a talisman character carved on his chest. When Lin Rei saw this, he instantly knew that this was the senior disciple that Sun Feng had mentioned. His purpose was to create trouble for the new disciples, and even to kill them. Are you trying to stop me? He didn't look at the Talisman Sect disciple. His gaze was fixed on the wooden house at the side of the lake. Because in his eyes, the young man was far inferior to the wooden house. You. The young man was furious when he saw Lin Rei's actions. He never imagined that not only was there no respect in the words of a new disciple, Lin Rei didn't even look at him when he spoke. This caused the young man to feel embarrassed and furious. He never imagined that a new disciple would actually look down on him like this. However, a wave of annoyance surged into Lin Rei's heart when he saw the young man's actions. What exactly do you want? If you want to make a move, then please do so quickly. If you don't want to make a move, then quickly come over. Don't block my path. As the saying goes, a good dog doesn't block the path. Could it be that you have to speak so much nonsense every time you fight an enemy? Fuck. Who's the senior disciple and who's the new disciple? The Talisman Sect disciple was stunned when he heard Lin Rei, and his face turned pale. Why aren't you making a move? When he saw that the Talisman Sect disciple had no intention of making a move, Lin Rei was momentarily stunned. Soon after, he didn't want to wait any longer. Alright, since you're not going to make a move, then I'll end it. What? The Talisman Sect disciple was stunned when he heard these words. While he still didn't know what was going on, a black figure flashed before his eyes. He felt a pain in his chest and his entire body was involuntarily sent flying backwards. Everything happened so quickly that the Talisman Sect disciple didn't even have time to react before he discovered that he was already in the air. Pfft! A mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth. His face instantly turned deathly pale, and his face was filled with disbelief. How is this possible? A new disciple at the true God stage, why is he so powerful? Chapter 854. With a plop, the Talisman Sect disciple fell miserably on the ground. His face was deathly pale and bloodless while his eyes were filled with extreme fear. He had never expected to be caught by Jia Ke, who had been playing with eagles all year round. He also did not expect that a true god cultivator would be able to send him flying with a single palm strike. Furthermore, the instant he sensed the severity of his injuries, he knew that he would not be able to recover for at least a year even if he were to consume healing pills. His internal organs had been displaced by a single palm strike and 6 of his ribs had been broken. In fact, one of his ribs had even penetrated his lungs. Waves of pain came from the inside of his upper body, and his vision gradually became blurry. However, at this moment, he knew that he did not dare to faint without the permission of the person in front of him. This was because of Lin Rei's murderous gaze and the murderous aura that was being emitted from his body without any restraint. At this moment, when he looked at Lin Rei, he no longer saw the elegant young man he used to be. Instead, he saw a god of death. Lin Rei's smile was like the god of death waving at him, causing his hair to stand on end and his heart to tremble in fear. Pfft! His chest and abdomen trembled. Unable to endure any longer, a warm current spurted out from his mouth. Cough cough. As he coughed, he looked at Lin Rei, who was like a god of death. He wanted to beg for mercy but at this moment, he realized that his fatty was in so much pain that he could not speak. At this moment, he became anxious. After that, he began to groan and mumble something. However, Lin Rei knew very well that he wanted to beg for mercy. However, Lin Rei would let him off. After all, he had done something that no one would dare to do to him. Brat, you are the one who is courting death. I already told you to get lost but you refused. Who can you blame for this? As the saying goes, one can survive a heavenly disaster but one cannot survive a self-inflicted disaster. I believe that you understand this logic. When he saw the miserable appearance of the Talisman Sect disciple, Lin Rei smiled faintly. Then, he took a step forward and arrived beside him in an instant. He felt a wave of disdain in his heart. Rest. If you want to recover your voice, I'm afraid no one in this world can help you. Of course, this is also your punishment. With a look of disdain on his face, he turned around and prepared to leave. Oh, right. As if having thought of something, Zhang Xian didn't turn around. Instead, a voice sounded in his mind, in the future, before you fight with others, remember not to speak too much nonsense. Let me teach you a philosophy. Lin Rei said with a serious face, if you can fight, try not to force it. His expression was filled with fear and his body involuntarily trembled at this moment. What's wrong with you? Sensing Bai Yun's abnormality, Lu Zhongtian was stunned and asked with a puzzled expression. Hearing Lu Zhongtian's words, Bai Yun was stunned. Then, with a trembling voice, he dissuaded Lu Zhongtian, don't delve into it. Don't ask any more. This matter is too terrifying. Don't ask any more. Just pretend this matter never happened. Bai Yun could not summon the slightest bit of hatred towards Lin Rei. It was not that he did not want to, but that he did not dare. The instant he was sent flying by Lin Rei's palm strike, not only did it destroy Bai Yun's confidence, it also destroyed Bai Yun's spirit. He could not bring himself to hate Lin Rei. The only thing he felt was fear, endless fear. Damn, what's going on? You've become like this, so. Although Lu Zhongtian said that, he was shocked when he saw Bai Yun's state. Bai Yun was an expert ranked in the top 10 of the wind ranking. But now, his eyes were filled with fear and his body was trembling. It was as if he had experienced some inhumane torture. However, if Lu Zhongtian knew that Bai Yun's current state was caused by a single palm strike, he might not believe it and laugh out loud. He might even say that Bai Yun was joking. Of course, this was the case for most of the people. They did not believe that a true God realm cultivator could turn an expert in the divine guard realm into such a state with a single palm strike. The wind ranking was created by the Talisman Sect for the purpose of training their disciples. Of course, if they were ranked in the top 10, they would receive a huge amount of resources. However, the wind ranking was the weakest ranking in the Talisman Sect. Above the wind ranking, there was the cloud ranking. Above the cloud ranking, there was the star ranking. Above the star ranking, there was the supreme ranking. Of course, these rankings would be promoted as one's level increased. Just like the supreme ranking, one would become an elder of the sect after becoming a supreme ranking. Most of the supreme ranking experts would be at the middle stage God Emperor realm. As for the cloud ranking and star ranking, they corresponded to the divine emperor realm, divine sect and divine monarch realm respectively. Of course, the number of people on these rankings would decrease according to the ranking strength. After all, the rarer something was, the more valuable it was. Furthermore, cultivation could not be achieved overnight. However, at this moment, Linley had no idea that it was because of him that White Cloud had fallen silent under his tyrannical power, not daring to do anything that went against its conscience. This was because he was afraid. He was afraid mentally and from the bottom of his soul. He was extremely afraid. At this moment, at a place where no one was looking, Lin Rei was watching the quarrel in front of him. With a thought, he took out a jar of fruit wine that he had stocked up before and drank it. Gulp, gulp, gulp. The sound echoed in the surroundings. However, those people's attention was not on him. Therefore, no one heard the strange sound at all. Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, brothers, let's go. Remember what his fiancée looks like. When the time comes, he. At this moment, the leader of the group revealed a sinister smile. When the others heard this, their faces turned sinister. I will fight it out with you. At this moment, even an idiot would know what they wanted to do after hearing what they said. The young man from the Zhua clan felt guilty towards his fiancée. But now, he wanted to drag her down because of him. For a moment, he didn't know where the energy came from, but a ruthless feeling surged in his heart. An indescribable power instantly spread through his body. Then, he took out a short sword from somewhere and stepped forward to stab the leader of the group. In the distance, Lin Rei saw this scene and sighed slightly. He shook his head and said, "Alas, it's like hitting a stone with an egg. Your cultivation is not high enough, but now you still want to fight. Refining is so stingy, get lost. You're just an ant. Do you think you're still Yun De Qian from the Zhou clan? Pa! A crisp sound spread in the air. The young man in the lead was startled when he saw the young man from the Zhou clan. However, he quickly regained his composure and used his cultivation to slap the young man's face. The young man from the Zhou clan was sent flying backwards without any resistance. Puff! In the air, the young man from the Zhou clan spat out a mouthful of scarlet blood. His face was extremely pale. He wasn't as powerful as the leader. Now that the leader had used all his strength, how could the young man from the Zhou clan be any better? Alas, this is really, ding. Discovered a person with the highest grade thunder spiritual root. Recommended to subdue him. Ding. Recommended to the host to accept him as a disciple of the sect and use all his strength to help him take revenge. What? When he heard the system's notification, Linley was stunned. This was something that he had never thought of. Furthermore, according to him, it had been a long time since the system had reminded him of his innate talent. Ah, kid, you're so lucky. I didn't expect to meet a cultivator with the highest grade thunder spiritual root here. TSK, hearing the little dragon's TSK, Lin Ray didn't say anything. Because he knew that the little dragon hadn't finished speaking. However, the system said that the cultivator with the thunder spiritual root is in danger and is about to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Damn, don't tell me that the person with the highest grade thunder spiritual root that the system mentioned is the young man from the Zhou clan? At this moment, hearing the characteristics mentioned by the little dragon and the fact that there weren't many people around, Lin Ray accurately thought of the young man from the Zhou clan who was sent flying. However, things that you didn't think about were the truth. Sure enough, after hearing Lin Ray's guess, the little dragon laughed. Yes, that's right. It's that kid. Chapter 855. At this moment, after receiving the little dragon's final confirmation, Lin Ray didn't want to say anything more. He originally wanted to sit back and watch the show, but he didn't expect the system to suddenly make such a move. Now, even if he didn't want to, he had to do it. But, as if he thought of something, the corner of his mouth curved into a smile. If I can nurture this thunder spirit root, he might become a sharp blade by my side. But, if he's obedient, then it's fine. If he's not obedient and turns against his master, then, although he thought of the importance of the thunder spirit root, compared to the thunder spirit root, Lin Ray cared more about the character and humanity of the person. He didn't want to see the scene in the immortal world. He couldn't bear it, and he didn't dare to bear it. He was afraid, so, should I save? Or? Understanding Lin Ray's thoughts, the little dragon didn't force Lin Ray to subdue him. After all, because of that incident, Lin Ray was depressed for a period of time, and at the same time, he went crazy. This was something the little dragon didn't want to see. No matter if it was because of the system or because of Lin Ray, he didn't want to see that scene happen again. At this moment, Lin Ray was silent. He didn't know what choice he should make. Faced with this choice, bang. A group of people surrounded the young man from the Zhou family in the distance, punching and kicking him. Every one of them had a fierce look on their faces, and as time went on, the strength of their punches became heavier and heavier. In the end, the young man from the Zhou family was in so much pain that he fell silent. He wanted to say something. But he didn't know how to say it. At this moment, he was in so much pain that he couldn't feel anything. He couldn't feel what pain was anymore. But, the only thing he could feel was the muffled sounds that came from the side of his ears. He lowered his head, and his eyes were filled with ferocity. His murderous aura grew stronger and stronger as he cultivated. He hated himself for being useless. He hated himself for not being able to protect his family. He hated himself for being such a playboy in the past. He hated himself, but he hated this world even more. Fresh blood flowed out from every part of the Zhua youth's body, staining the ground beneath him. Blood continued to flow out of his mouth, and his face was deathly pale. His body trembled uncontrollably, and the scene was extremely tragic. Even so, the group of people didn't seem to have the slightest intention of stopping. Moreover, they kept clapping and cheering as they punched and kicked the youth from the Zhua family. Brat, have you thought it through? Top-grade thunder spiritual root. This spiritual root is very rare. It is not like the 5-element spiritual roots that can be found everywhere. Moreover, not everyone is like you. As your strength increases, you will have all the spiritual roots. This kind of spiritual root is rarely seen in a million years. You should be clear about its importance. At this moment, the little dragon couldn't help but speak. However, the premise that he did all this was for Lin Rei's sake. Because he knew how powerful the thunder spiritual root was, and he also knew how much help it could provide to Lin Rei. Hearing the little dragon's words, Lin Rei was stunned. His originally hurried eyes cleared up a little. He raised his head and looked at the youth from the Zhua family who was almost dying from the beating. Lin Rei was stunned. He could feel that the youth from the Zhua family's vitality was increasing rapidly. If he didn't do anything now, he was afraid that the youth would die in less than a minute. Whether you do anything or not is up to you. Looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon spoke again. Then, he fell into complete silence and didn't say anything else. Half a minute later, his originally confused eyes finally cleared up, and a hint of determination appeared in his pupils. With a smile on his face, he looked at the youth from the Zhua family with a determined gaze and said through his consciousness, "Brat, I can save you, and I can even give you the power you want. I can let you take revenge and submit to me. Do you agree?" There was no beating around the bush. From Lin Rei's point of view, only the youth's thunder spiritual root was of value to him. Of course, now there was an additional point, and that was the youth's willpower. "You. Who are you?" At that moment, the young man from the Zhua clan, who was lying on the ground and being punched and kicked by others, shuddered violently when he heard Lin Li's voice. His eyes, which had been filled with despair and even filled with an aura of death, gained a faint and barely detectable hint of hope when he heard the voice in his head. Yes, at this moment, there was a trace of hope, a trace of determination, and a trace of stubbornness in the youth from the Zhua family. But at the same time, he also knew that the price he had to pay for this was something he couldn't imagine. Because, he didn't believe that there would be such a good thing in this world. Moreover, it just so happened to fall on his head. The probability of such a thing happening was very small. It was so small that a supreme god cultivator would choke to death while drinking water, choke to death while eating, or be smashed to death by a flower pot outside. Heh. Hearing the youth's question, Lin Rei smiled and didn't hide anything. He introduced himself, "I am Lin Rei, the sect master of the Xuanzong sect. I know what you are thinking, but you can rest assured that what you are thinking will not happen. Of course, what you need to do is to cultivate and become stronger. So strong that other than me, everyone else will submit to you. You only need to do this." That's all? The youth from the Zhua family was stunned when he heard that. His heart was filled with indescribable doubts. At this moment, after hearing Lin Rei's promise, his previous assumptions were all shattered. He realized that there really was such a good thing in this world, and it happened to him. That's all. Do you agree? If you agree, I will do it. If you don't, I will leave now. Without any hesitation, the youth from the Zhua family immediately said, "I agree." The moment Lin Rei said yes, the youth from the Zhuo family immediately agreed. Good. Linli liked the young man's decisiveness very much. He didn't waste any more time and immediately unleashed his cultivation. His mid-stage hierarch cultivation base was instantly activated. He raised his hand and pointed it at the young man from the Zhuo clan. Suddenly, everyone who was punching and kicking the young man froze on the spot. It was as if someone had cast a body-freezing technique on them. They didn't move an inch, but their actions were as if they were about to hit someone. Looking at the youth from the Zhuo family, Lin Rei smiled. His figure flashed and appeared beside the youth in an instant. He reached out and helped the youth up. Release. Looking at the motionless youth, Lin Rei raised his hand and activated his cultivation base. He pointed at the youth's head and said, "Release." Suddenly, the youth from the Zhuo family recovered. However, because of the broken bones in his body, the moment the immobilizing technique was released, the youth from the Zhuo family collapsed on the ground. However, looking at the people around him who were immobilized, the youth's heart trembled and his face was filled with shock. He didn't expect the person in front of him to be so powerful. He didn't even see him make a move, but he and the others were all immobilized on the spot. He had never seen such a technique before, not even when the Zhuo family was still around. At this moment, he saw hope. The hope of revenge, the hope of regaining his dignity, and winning back everything that he had lost. Lifting his unconscious head with difficulty, the youth from the Zhuo family stared at Lin Rei in front of him. His eyes were filled with gratitude and respect. Thank you for saving me. From now on, Zhuo Qing's life is yours. If you tell me to go east, I won't go west. If you tell me to kill a chicken, I won't kill a dog. Your orders are my. Listening to Zhuo Qing's incessant chatter, Lin Li couldn't help but think of Lu Yuanqi. Suddenly, he began to regret making a move and leaving behind this chatterbox. Alright, you're injured. Don't talk so much nonsense. In the end, Lin Rei couldn't help but stop him. Because if he didn't stop him, he didn't know how long Zhuo Qing would continue talking. More importantly, Lin Rei had to treat his injuries. Otherwise, with his current state, he would die soon. Yes. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Zhuo Qing obediently shut his mouth. Perhaps because his injuries were too serious, his neck couldn't support it. In the end, he collapsed to the ground before his head could recover. Oh, you can still talk so much in this state. You're really something. Saying that, he shook his head with a wry smile. Then, he squatted down and searched for healing medicine in his space storage ring. Given Zhuo Qing's current condition, it wouldn't work if the medicine was too strong. However, if it was too soft and weak, it wouldn't work either. This stumped Lin Rei. More importantly, there were so many pills in the space storage ring that he really didn't know what to use. Suddenly, Lin Rei, who was searching, narrowed his eyes. A glint flashed in his eyes. In the blink of an eye, a smile appeared on his gloomy face. Fortunately, withdrawing his divine sense, a purple jade bottle appeared in his hand. The words, Emperor-level Heavenly Spirit, were written on the jade bottle. Fortunately, I refined a bottle of Emperor-level Heavenly Spirit pills. Otherwise, it would be difficult to deal with now. Looking at the pill bottle in his hand, Lin Rei's heart was filled with warmth. This heavenly spirit was created by him, and he had comprehended it when he released the recall style. This kind of medicinal pill did not have the effect of increasing one's cultivation base, nor did it have the effect of stabilizing one's soul. For cultivators, it was of little value. However, this disciple's strength was that it could heal injuries without any side effects. What was even more amazing was that this medicinal pill belonged to a state between hard and soft, which was the perfect state. Therefore, when he saw this pill bottle, Lin Rei knew that the pill to heal Zhuo Qing was him. Other than him, there was no other choice. Of course, there were 3,000 great daos. The world was full of wonders. It was impossible to say that there weren't any. He poured out a red pill the size of a fingernail. Without waiting for Zuoqing's puzzled look, he flicked his finger. A red light instantly streaked across the sky and rushed into Zuoqing's mouth. Boom! The moment he felt something enter his mouth, a warm current instantly exploded in his abdomen. At first, he couldn't stand the high heat, but this feeling only lasted for a moment. After the heat passed, it turned into a boundless medicinal power. It began to spread throughout his limbs and bones, and everything in his body began to recover. Hiss. This. Feeling the strange feeling in his body, Zuoqing checked. He didn't know if he didn't check, but when he checked, he was shocked. When he saw that some of the broken bones in his body had healed, he sucked in a breath of cold air. His face was full of disbelief. How is this possible? He couldn't believe what was happening in his body. Heh, that's enough. Don't you feel embarrassed? At this time, Lin Rei, who was squatting at the side, saw Zuoqing's expression change. He covered his face for a moment, as if he didn't want to know him. This is you. He came back to his senses and looked at Lin Rei. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly remembered the pill bottle from before. For a moment, the matter of his body recovering made sense. I can't thank you enough. Your kindness, I will repay it with my life when I return to the sect. Without wasting any time, he closed his eyes and began to feel his body recovering. Heh, looks like I made the right bet this time. Lin Li saw the respect in Zuoqing's eyes. Towards this, his heart, which had been filled with worry, relaxed considerably. At this time, just as Lin Rei was admiring him, the little dragon's voice suddenly sounded, indeed, this kid's character is really good. Looking at the illusory little dragon, Lin Rei quickly smiled and joked, you know to come out. Nonsense. The little dragon was never restrained with Lin Rei. He directly rolled his eyes at Lin Rei. I told you before, this kid's character is even better. You just didn't believe me. Look at it now. What? Did you say that before? Looking at the little dragon, Lin Rei looked at him doubtfully, but why do I remember that you only suggested that I subdue him? You didn't say anything about his character? I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first. Seeing Lin Rei so mercilessly expose him, the little dragon couldn't stay any longer. He directly found an excuse and disappeared on the spot, returning to the system. Lin Rei didn't stop him. He knew why the little dragon left. Phew, exhaling a long breath, a trace of tiredness appeared on his face. He sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes to rest. Time passed little by little. In the blink of an eye, half a day had passed. Lin Rei sat there like this for 6 hours. During these 6 hours, many people passed by, but when it came to Zuoqing and the others, everyone acted as if they didn't see them and directly ignored them. If Zuoqing was awake at that time, he would probably cry out in surprise. Of course, all of this was Lin Rei's masterpiece. After he closed his eyes to rest, with a wave of his hand, a formation appeared and wrapped everyone up. And this formation didn't have any other benefits. Just like the celestial spirit, it didn't have any other function other than being able to recover. At this moment, the formation that wrapped everyone up was the same. It only had the function of concealing illusions and had no other function. Okay, I'm done. At this moment, a voice full of surprise was heard. Lin Rei, who was resting with his eyes closed, immediately left the moment he heard this business. Looking at the surprised Zuoqing, Lin Rei sighed and said, as a cultivator, the most important thing is a cultivator's peace of mind. Look at you, what do you look like now? Chapter 856. I understand. Lin Rei's words were like a bucket of cold water that instantly extinguished the flame in his heart. There was not a trace of hope that was rekindled in his heart. At this moment, the smile on Zhuo Qing's face instantly disappeared and was replaced by a solemn and respectful expression. He did not speak and just stood quietly in front of Lin Rei. He did not know what to do with his hands, and in the end, he simply placed them behind his back. Lin Rei was stunned when he saw Zhuo Qing's current actions. Then, he smiled and said, "All right, it's good that you know. There is no need to be so restrained around me." Moreover, as he spoke, he looked at the few people who were frozen and continued, "Now, my identity is just the same as yours. I am just an ordinary person who is participating in the Talisman Grandmaster's recruitment. I am only a true god cultivator. Therefore, you must remember not to give yourself away in front of outsiders. Do you understand?" Understood. Although he did not know why Lin Rei was acting like this, he did not dare to reveal a trace of doubt even though he was clearly a powerful expert who was pretending to be a cultivation newbie. He nodded respectfully and said, "I will definitely remember what you have instructed me to do. Please be rest assured." "All right." Upon hearing this, Lin Rei nodded. "Since that is the case, you can call me young master like everyone else." Lin Rei liked this form of address. After all, other than this form of address, he felt a little uncomfortable being called master as someone who had lived under the obligation for 9 years. "Yes, young master. I understand." He nodded and expressed his agreement, "All right." Lin Rei was in a good mood when he saw how obedient Zhuo Qing was. Originally, he had come here to complete the mission issued by the system. However, he did not expect that he would unintentionally discover such a powerful subordinate. Therefore, Lin Rei's trip could be said to have not been in vain. Of course, Lin Rei could clearly sense the hatred in Zhuo Qing's heart. Lin Rei did not object to this as long as Zhuo Qing did not threaten him. "I'll leave these people to you. It's up to you whether you want to kill them or keep them. Remember to be decisive." Lin Rei didn't even bother to look at the small fries that were frozen by him. He spoke to Zhuo Qing and walked to the side. As for the spells on those people, Lin Rei didn't remove them. Although Zhuo Qing's supreme-grade Thunder Spirit root was very difficult to deal with, Lin Rei felt ashamed of Zhuo Qing's cultivation. Thank you, young master. This subordinate will definitely repay you with my body in the future. I will be loyal to you. I will not hesitate to climb a mountain of blades or plunge into a sea of flames. My respect for you is like a torrential river, continuous and unstoppable." Stop. Lin Li frowned when he saw how Zhuo Qing was enjoying herself. He hurriedly called for her to stop because he didn't dare to imagine if Zhuo Qing would say something even more disgusting if he didn't stop her. If that was the case, he definitely wouldn't be able to take it. Looking at Zhuo Qing, Lin Rei said very seriously, "Remember, when you're with me in the future, speak as little as possible. It's best if you don't speak at all. You just have to wait for my secret realm. Do you understand? This is the first order that I've given you. I believe you won't disobey it." This. Hearing this, Zhuo Qing looked embarrassed. Even a fool would know why Lin Rei was so straightforward, so, yes, this subordinate understands. In the end, Zhuo Qing did not dare to disobey Lin Rei's order. He finally chose to compromise and stopped talking. "Good. That's very good." With Zhuo Qing's agreement, Lin Rei finally smiled. Perhaps he was happy because Zhuo Qing had agreed to his conditions, or perhaps he was excited because Lin Rei had obtained a top-grade Thunder spiritual root. As for the details, no one knew except for Lin Rei himself. "Take your time. I'll wait." Without looking back, he turned and walked away. Looking at Lin Rei's back, Zhuo Qing's face was full of gratitude. He secretly swore that as long as it was Lin Rei's enemy, he would do everything in his power to kill them, even if the enemy's cultivation was much higher than his. Lin Rei did not know about this vow, but Zhuo Qing really did fulfill it. In the end, he became Lin Rei's sharp blade. Once he did, blood would be shed. Staring at Lin Li's departing figure, Zhuo Qing regained her coldness. A coldness that seemed to originate from the depths of hell could be felt. Within her eyes, a hint of killing intent flashed, without a trace. But just that trace of killing intent was enough to cause people to tremble in fear. Turning around, he looked at the people who had bullied him, punched and kicked him, and even wanted to beat him to death. He looked at the people who had once called him brothers. He looked at these ungrateful beasts. He looked at these people who had tried to divide the spoils and kill him because of the Zhuo family. Zhuo Qing's heart was filled with endless hatred and killing intent. It seems the kid's heart is filled with hatred. I guess it's time to let him vent a bit. Otherwise, well, it's not a bad thing to have such a strong killing intent. Lin Rei's divine sense had not left Zhuo Qing's position. He could sense Zhuo Qing's killing intent, and Lin Rei knew exactly what was going on. If that's the case, then I'll. With a thought, he caused the minions who had been beating Zhuo Qing to move their heads and regain consciousness. However, their bodies were so weak that they didn't seem to belong to them at all. They just stood there, motionless. What's going on? Why is this happening? What the hell is going on? Who is it? Don't tell me he knows I'm the young master of the Su clan. Does he want to die? Fuck, who is it? How could he be so shameless as to sneak up on me from behind? What kind of cultivator is he? If he's got the guts, come out and fight me. There was no sound of a slap. Just as the crowd regained consciousness and realized what was going on, they began to hurl abuse at Lin Rei. However, even as they were hurling abuse at Lin Rei, a slap appeared out of nowhere and landed on his face. The sound of the slap was so loud and clear that it seemed to be filled with an intimidating power. Everyone who had been hurling abuse at Lin Rei stopped in their tracks. In the next moment, the people who were cursing all shut their mouths. Their faces were all filled with astonishment because the person they saw was none other than Zhuo Qing, whom they had never expected to see. Everyone looked at Zhuo Qing, their faces filled with shock and disbelief. They couldn't believe that Zhuo Qing was the one who had been beaten half to death by them. But here came the problem. Everyone knew Zhuo Qing's appearance very well. She was half dead and almost dead. But now, Zhuo Qing didn't look like she was half dead at all. She was clearly a normal person who didn't have any injuries except for her pale face. She was clearly a normal person. You. Are you a human or a ghost? Why did your injuries heal in an instant? Are you Zhuo Qing or? At this moment, the originally quiet scene was broken by the voice of someone in the field. This person was none other than the leader of a group of underlings, the so-called young master of the Su clan. He looked at Zhuo Qing with a bewildered gaze. However, under his bewildered gaze, there was a deep sense of greed. In his opinion, the only thing that could heal his injuries in an instant was some heavenly treasure. He couldn't think of anything else. At this moment, if Zhuo Qing knew what he was thinking, he would definitely burst out laughing. He didn't expect the Su clan to be such a fool who liked to imagine things. However, how could the current Zhuo Qing possibly know what the young master of the Su clan was thinking? At this moment, he only wanted to take revenge. He wanted to take revenge for how they had treated him. He wanted to take revenge for not lending a helping hand to the Zhuo clan when they were in trouble and instead ruthlessly stabbing the Zhuo clan in the heart. He wanted to take revenge for those who had once called him brothers, but in the end, stabbed him in the back, gloated over his misfortune, and hit him when he was down. Therefore, Zhuo Qing only had one thought about the young master of the Su clan, and that was to kill him and take revenge. Heh, what do you think? Zhuo Qing looked at the young master of the Su clan with a mocking expression. Do you think I'm a human or a ghost? You. Hearing Zhuo Qing's words, the young master of the Su clan was stunned. He immediately recovered and said with a smile, that. You, so what if I'm a human or a ghost? If the heavens don't accept me, I'm a ghost. If the ghost domain doesn't accept me, I'm a god. Right now, I'm a human, a god, a ghost, and everything in the vast thousand domains. At this moment, when he said these words, Zhuo Qing's body erupted with an aura that didn't lose out to his. Even Lin Rei, who was far away, felt this aura. Heh, it seems that this little fellow is quite something. I have to train him more in the future. Otherwise, it would be a pity to destroy such a good piece of material. With that, Lin Rei fell into silence. His consciousness was closely watching Zhuo Qing's next move. In this regard, Lin Rei had no intention of interfering. You. What do you want? Looking at the current Zhuo Qing, the young master of the Su clan was stunned. His heart was filled with an indescribable feeling. At this moment, he realized that he seemed to know the debauchee of the past. It seemed that the Zhuo Qing in front of him wasn't the Zhuo Qing he knew. However, the two of their faces were so shockingly similar. At this moment, the young master of the Su clan was stunned. He was completely stunned. Looking at the puzzled young master of the Su clan, Zhuo Qing suddenly smiled. His smile was very sudden and without any warning. However, the young master of the Su clan didn't feel the slightest warmth from his smile. On the contrary, he felt endless coldness. It made his hair stand on end and he felt as if he had entered an ice cave. This feeling was very unpleasant, especially for the current him. He didn't expect that this feeling would come from the person he thought was trash. What do I want? You still have the nerve to say that? Don't you know how I treated you back then? Back then, your Su clan was about to disappear. It was I. It was I who begged my father to lend a helping hand to your Su clan. But what about you? How did you repay me? At this moment, it was as if Zhuo Qing had gone mad. He roared at the young master of the Su clan, You repaid me at the cost of my Zhuo clan's annihilation. You repaid me by stabbing a bone-piercing cold knife into my heart. You repaid me at the cost of thousands of lives in my Zhuo clan. Now, you're telling me what I look like? At this moment, the young master of the Su clan was stunned on the spot after hearing Zhuo Qing's words. Their eyes were lifeless as they recalled Zhuo Qing who had helped them back then. But so what? In the face of benefits, brothers, they were meant to be betrayed. They weren't meant to share joys and sorrows, to live and die together. The moment you touched my Zhuo clan, the moment you touched my service, your life, the fate of your entire Su clan, was already sealed. Death. What? You. Hearing those words, the young master of the Su clan came back to his senses. Sensing the enormous killing intent, he was scared. It was only at this moment that he realized that he couldn't move at all. However, Zhuo Qing was different. At this moment, he was scared. He was no longer the high and mighty young Master Su from before. Die. Ignoring young Master Su, a cold, 3-foot-long sword appeared in his hand, pulsing with cold sword energy that gave people the illusion that they wouldn't dare to look directly at it. Seeing this, young Master Su's eyes went wide, and he said in disbelief, Zhuo Qing, no, Grandpa Zhuo, I beg of you, no, don't kill me. Have you forgotten that we're good brothers? Have you forgotten the happy times we had together? In order to survive, young Master Su didn't care about his own face. In the face of living, everything seemed so petty and pitiful. Beg for mercy? Brothers? Feelings? Hearing these harsh words, Zhuo Qing felt a sharp pain in his heart. It was as if thousands of knives were stabbing his heart over and over again without stopping. When the thousand Zhuo clan members begged for mercy, did you ever think about the brotherly feelings between us? After the Zhuo clan was exterminated, did you ever think about the things you did to me? Did you ever think about those pitiful brotherly feelings? When I was down and out, did you ever think about those brotherly feelings? At this moment, young Master Su was silent. If that's the case, then why should I have brotherly feelings for you? With that, Zhuo Qing took a step forward, arriving in front of young Master Su in an instant. He raised the sword in his hand and slashed at young Master Su's left ear. With a ripping sound, the sound of flesh being torn apart rang out, followed by young Master Su's blood-curdling scream. You. You're really. Could it be that you're not afraid of being hunted down by the Su clan? Could it be that you're not afraid that the Su clan. Rip. Following that, a sword light appeared, and young Master Su's right ear was separated from his body. It fell to the ground, blood spurting out, and young Master Su's blood-curdling screams continued. At this moment, Zhuo Qing was in such a state. Other than young Master Su, everyone else was stunned. Their faces were filled with shock and fear. They had never seen Zhuo Qing bathed in blood before. It was as if they didn't know him at all. At this moment, everyone looked at young Master Su's miserable appearance, and their hearts were in turmoil. They knew that the evaluation of young Master Su just now had been made by some of the people present, so fear had taken over everyone's hearts. They were afraid, and they regretted it. They. Chapter 857. What? What should I do? I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I still have a lot of things to do. I still have parents who didn't die a good death. No, I can't. I can't die here. I still have a great time ahead of me. I still have, don't. Grandpa Zhuo, oh no, ancestor, don't kill me. I still have a lot of things waiting for me. I don't want to die. I beg you, please don't do this. I will atone for my sins. Yes. I will atone for my sins. I will atone for my sins, okay? From now on, you are the master of all of us. From now on, we will obey your orders. We will not dare to neglect you. If we neglect you, we will die a horrible death. Oh, is that so? Hearing such a vicious oath, even though it sounded very loyal, if one were to look carefully, one would be able to detect a trace of viciousness in the eyes of the person making the oath. Even though it was only for an instant, even though it was hidden very deeply, Zhuo Qing was able to sense it very clearly. Looking at him, Zhuo Qing gave up on young Master Su. Then, with a bloodthirsty smile, she came in front of him. Looking at the person who made the oath so loyal, Zhuo Qing jokingly said, "Look at how righteous you are. Then, are you also duty-bound and willing to die for me?" "What, you?" The person was shocked. His eyes widened, and his pupils were filled with disbelief. He couldn't believe that Zhuo Qing was still like this when he was already in such a state. What was even more unbelievable was that Zhuo Qing had changed so much. She was clearly a trash who was being tortured to death before, but in the blink of an eye, she had become like this. What made it hard for him to control himself was his body. Except for his head, the rest of his body couldn't move. This was also the reason why he was tortured to death. Die. For you, for your family, for the wrongs that your family has done before, atone for your sins. Without waiting for the person who made the oath to speak, Zhuo Qing waved her hand. A beam of light flashed along the person's neck and disappeared in an instant. PFFF, the next moment, a scarlet color gushed out from the person's neck like a flood. The scene was so eye-catching that it made people's hair stand on end. Hiss! The Oathkeeper's death caused those who were still alive to suck in a breath of cold air. Their faces were pale and filled with fear as they watched their good friend of many years get killed so easily and die in such a tragic manner. Some people's faces turned as white as a sheet of paper the moment they saw this scene. Their legs gave way and they wanted to fall to the ground, but, to everyone's disappointment, their bodies seemed to be fixed in the air. They wanted to squat down, but they couldn't move. Don't be nervous, it will be your turn soon. Take your time and watch your friends, watch the brothers who once joined forces to destroy my Zhuo family, be killed one by one. I want you to live in fear, and when you die, you won't be able to reincarnate. At that moment, the crowd didn't know what to say. They wanted to beg for forgiveness, but when they saw how their friends had ended up begging for forgiveness, the words that they wanted to say came to an abrupt stop. Humph! With a cold snort, Zhuo Qing walked up to young Master Su. Looking at his missing ears, Zhuo Qing's heart was filled with satisfaction. Although he wasn't the real culprit, he was the son and disciple of the instigators. Zhuo Qing was going to start his revenge from here. His revenge. He was going to make the clans who had destroyed the Zhuo clan regret what they had done. Young Master Su, it's your turn now. His voice was filled with endless hatred and killing intent. Of course, you're not the first, and you won't be the last. The Su clan, the Wu clan, the Lu clan. All of you participated in the destruction of the Zhuo family. All of you were groomed for the sake of the lives of the Zhuo family's more than 1,000 people. I want them to apologize to the Zhuo family. I want them destroyed. I want them to disappear from the God world and the universe. That was exactly what Zhuo Qing was thinking at that moment. Not only that, he was going to punish all the vassals of the family who had stood by and watched with folded arms, especially his fiancée's family. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, laughter came from young Master Su's mouth. For some reason, there was bitterness and self-mockery in his laughter. Perhaps he felt that he had been so stupid, or perhaps, he felt that he had lost a friend who had once been so sincere. Come on. Give me a quick death. Atone for what I've done. Atone for my betrayal. Atone for my ungratefulness. Come on. Kill me. Kill me, and everything will be over. Come on. Do it. Young Master Su seemed to have gone mad. Everyone present was stunned, and couldn't believe what they were hearing. Ha! Killing you is inevitable. Everything you said is true. As for ending everything, ha! Do you really think that's possible? Do you really think your life is enough to make up for the loss of 1,000 lives of the Zhuo family? I've let you down. Young Master Su's face was filled with shame. A carefree smile appeared on his pale face. So, kill me, and let me atone for my sins. At this point, Zhuo Qing hesitated, and didn't say anything. When he heard young Master Su's words, he suddenly felt a bit of pity for him. Memories that he had thought he had forgotten resurfaced in his mind. The memories were full of the happy days he had with young Master Su. They talked, laughed, and cultivated together. Those were the happiest days of his life. But sigh. Remember to be a good person in your next life. Don't be like you are now. Become a person you hate and go against your heart. In our next life, let's still be brothers, okay? Whoosh. A flash of light flashed. The moment young Master Su said the word brother, a bloody mark appeared on his heart. Blood gushed out like a fountain. His life force plummeted at a shocking speed. At this moment, young Master Su seemed to have forgotten the pain. He looked at Zhuo with a gentle smile and said the words he wanted to say without missing a single word. At this moment, when Zhuo heard young Master Su say the word okay, his hand trembled. The weapon fell from his hand and fell to the ground with a crisp sound. Looking at young Master Su, whose eyes gradually closed with a smile on his face, Zhuo, who had been silent for a long time, opened his mouth. In our next life, I will still be your brother. And in this life, I won't regret being your brother. Hearing this, everyone present was stunned. They never thought that Zhuo would say this. However, it was a pity that young Master Su couldn't hear it. His body slowly stiffened. When the last trace of vitality disappeared, his body finally fell back and lay on the ground, dead. Phew. After doing this, Zhuo let out a long breath. Then, the gentleness in his eyes turned cold again. His gaze fell on the other survivors, and a hint of ruthlessness instantly pierced into their hearts. Suddenly, Zhuo's gaze instantly shattered the last line of defense in everyone's hearts. Whoosh, 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 at this moment, Zhuo moved. With a knife in his hand, his figure disappeared in an instant. A figure flashed past. Puff, 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 a series of sounds of flesh breaking were heard. In the next moment, a bloody mark appeared on the necks of the remaining survivors. It was a ghastly sight. It's done. At this moment, an ethereal voice came from afar. But this voice sounded as if it was right next to his ear. Of course, Zhuo knew this voice. He turned around and bowed in the direction of the voice. Yes, young master. This subordinate's matter is done. Well, that's good. Seeing how respectful Zhuo was, Lin Rui naturally felt it. After all, Lin Rui had the best thunder spiritual root. He had to carefully examine the character of the other party. Let's go. Lin Rui was satisfied with Zhuo. He nodded and walked towards the direction of the golden light. His speed wasn't very fast, but it was still a speed of 1,000 meters. After all, he had wasted so much time here. If he didn't hurry up, he was afraid that he would be delayed. As for Linley, he seemed to have forgotten something. Right now, he just stood there, watching as Linley's body flashed and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already 100 meters away. Linley's face was filled with shock. F***ck, how am I supposed to follow him? He muttered in his heart. Although he thought so, the smile on his face didn't change. Although he thought so, in the end, he still had to follow closely. Sigh. With a sigh, Zhuo was full of helplessness. He instantly used his little bit of cultivation. Although he didn't cross 100 meters in one step like Lin Rui, it was still not bad. Although he couldn't completely catch up with Lin Rui, it was already quite difficult to follow Lin Rui. Just like that, a chase scene was played. One was running, and the other was chasing. This scene. TSK, however, as time passed, Lin Rui's speed became faster and faster. At the last step, Zhuo was speechless. He didn't know what to say. At this moment, Zhuo even had the heart to die. However, Lin Rui didn't know about Zhuo's thoughts. At this moment, Lin Rui only had one thought, and that was to quickly reach the location of the golden light. After all, not only was the banished immortal brush there, but more importantly, the method to complete the mission given by the system was there. It didn't matter who it was, as long as they got in the way, the only way was to kill. It didn't matter who they were, even if they were gods. Even if they were gods, he would kill them. Even if they were gods or Buddhas, Lin Rui would kill them without hesitation. After all, this mission concerned his life, and he didn't want to use it as a joke. After all, he only had one life. Even Lin Rui was no exception to the fact that he feared death. At the location of the golden light, a group of old men stood under the golden light. Every one of them looked like they were struggling. Their faces were pale, and they did not understand what was going on. What's going on? Why is this happening? Why is the banished immortal brush fighting back? Why is this happening? No, the banished immortal brush seems to have sensed something. It's like... Impossible, impossible, how is this possible? How can the banished immortal brush recognize a master at this time? It's an innate spiritual treasure. Moreover, it has already given birth to its own consciousness. Even if it doesn't recognize a master, it can transform into a human form after cultivating for 1,000 or 10,000 years. Don't talk about it anymore. This isn't the case, that isn't the case. Right now, the main problem is to suppress the banished immortal brush. After all, this has already been decided for the sect recruitment competition. If we change it now, wouldn't we lose a lot of face? That's right. If this happens, that stinking brat Xiaofan will definitely use this time to laugh at us. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Their expressions were filled with agreement. Then, they nodded at the same time and said, "That's right. Since it's like this, then cultivation. Take out your special skills." With this sentence, everyone's expression became serious and they immediately moved. Everyone explained and brought out their special skills in order to not let Xiaofan see them as a joke. At this moment, while they were talking, a few figures quickly streaked across the sky and rushed toward the golden light. Their speed was so fast that it stunned everyone. Of course, these people were covered in wounds and bloodstains. They gave people the feeling that they were warriors who had just fought a bloody battle. Soon. This time, I must get a disciple. After all, the banished immortal brush is an innate spiritual treasure that can help me increase my spiritual force. At this moment, the young man who was rushing at the front was also the last person in the group. He held a 3-foot-long cold sword in his hand. He had the aura of a king with a sword in his hand. It was none other than Xiaofan, who had separated from Lin Rei and was trying to rope in Lin Rei. Along the way, Xiaofan had met many seniors who blocked his path. If it wasn't for his spiritual force, sword technique and comprehension of the sword Dao, he was afraid that. Looking at the golden light in front of him, Xiaofan couldn't help but reveal a happy and proud expression. After all, he was the first person, the strongest existence among the newcomers. However, because he was excited, he didn't care about the others. Who would have thought that when Xiaofan was about to open his mouth and laugh, a black figure would flash past him and rush toward the golden light? Who? At this moment, seeing the black figure flash past him, Xiaofan immediately recovered from his arrogance. He shouted angrily and raised his hand. The 3-foot-long cold sword instantly rushed toward the back of the figure in front of him. Huh! Sword Qi. At this moment, the young man in front of Xiaofan, who was currently in the first place, suddenly stopped. He felt the powerful sword Qi rushing toward him from behind and a smile appeared on his face. You want to compete with my sword Qi? You're asking for a rebuff. At this moment, the young man was none other than Xiaofan. If Xiaofan saw the young man's face at this moment, he would immediately recognize him. Wasn't that Lin Rei who had frightened him before? At this moment, Lin Rei didn't look back. Feeling the shocking sword Qi behind him, he smiled. Then, his sword fingers instantly drew a faint light that rushed out and collided with the shocking sword Qi. Bang! There was a loud sound that seemed to penetrate the world. Is that all you've got? Chapter 858. Looking at the sword Qi that was easily destroyed, Lin Rei frowned. His heart was filled with displeasure. Back then, when Xiaofan was using it, Lin Rei could feel a huge amount of sword Qi from his body. But now, when he used it, he was greatly disappointed. It was completely different from what he had expected. Flashy without substance. Too disappointing. Lin Rei's evaluation of Jian Feng was already considered polite. Otherwise, he wouldn't even care about Jian Feng. Although Lin Li's words were spoken in a very polite manner, the speaker's casual words had a hidden meaning behind them. Hearing this, Jian Feng frowned, his face filled with displeasure. Although he knew that the person in front of him did not want to reveal such a low level of power, but his dedication to the sword had been described as unbearable. Jian Feng was extremely angry. Boom! Oh, you're angry? Feeling Jian Feng's intent and the power that exploded from his body, Lin Rei's interest was piqued. Speaking of which, his understanding of the way of the sword was extraordinary after eating the sword-breaking pill. But unfortunately, his weapon was a spear, so, unforgivable. How can my way of the sword be judged by you? You, damn it! At this moment, Jian Feng was completely enraged. The long sword in his hand was instantly placed horizontally in the middle of the mountain. His face was filled with coldness. His entire body emitted a sword chi that was several times stronger than before. There was no trace of sloppiness. It was filled with stubbornness as it charged forward. In front of him, feeling the sword chi, Lin Rei's face that was originally masochistic revealed a hint of seriousness. When facing an enemy, Lin Rei always wanted to kill quickly. But Jian Feng was still not his enemy. Or it could be said that Jian Feng was not worthy of being his enemy. But Lin Rei was very optimistic about this sword chi. So, just this point alone made him have no choice but to be serious. Come. Even though you are talking, you are still waving the 3-foot cold light in your hand. Since you say that I cannot be forgiven and that I deserve to die, then bring out your full strength and let me see how strong the sword intent you have comprehended is. Let me see if it can kill me. Let me see if it can make you proud and let me. Although his tone was mocking, there was also a hint of seriousness in his tone. Of course, at that moment, Jian Feng, who was already enraged by Lin Rei, only saw the ridicule on Lin Rei's face. He did not sense the hint of seriousness, the hint of respect for his opponent. The first move of the myriad sword technique, one sword to seal immortals. Suddenly, a horrifying aura rushed out from Jian Feng's body, and a shocking killing intent appeared. He mobilized the spirit chi in his body, and according to the first style of the 10,000 sword secret art, he poured in a 3 feet long cold light and stabbed it towards Lin Rei. Ha! Myriad sword art? At this moment, looking at the sword art displayed by Jian Feng, it was so familiar. Wasn't this the sword art that he obtained from the system in the immortal world? However, there was a difference. Aside from the names of the moves were completely different. But, looking at the familiar sword art, Lin Rei smiled. Isn't this the F*King sword art that I stopped cultivating long ago? Of course, although he knew, Lin Rei did not explain. After all, that sword art was something that Lin Rei practiced at that time, and he did not engrave it. Whoosh! The sound of a sword piercing through the air suddenly arrived. Raising his head, Lin Li saw the single sword of immortality charging towards him, and he laughed. TSK, since you are using the 10,000 sword secret art, then let's see if your 10,000 sword secret art is stronger or if my 10,000 sword secret art is stronger. While thinking, Lin Rei moved. His movements were slow, neither fast nor slow. He raised his hand and a sword art that was exactly the same as Jian Feng's 10,000 sword secret art rushed out. What? How is this possible? Jian Feng's eyes were wide open, filled with disbelief and astonishment as he stared in front of him. When Lin Li used the exact same sword technique as Jian Feng's, Jian Feng's mind suddenly went blank with a buzzing sound. What's going on? Why does he know how to use the 10,000 sword secret art? Furthermore, he is even more proficient and powerful than me. Such a powerful sword energy, just who is he? Why have I never heard of such a person before? Furthermore, I have never heard of him before. Just who is he? Isn't the 10,000 sword secret art the sword sect's sword art? Why does he know how to use it? Could it be that he is from the sword sect? In an instant, countless thoughts and guesses appeared in Lin Rei's mind. No matter how he thought about it, he could not understand why the sword art that he was so proud of was so unsightly in the eyes of the person in front of him. Bang! A muffled sound rang out, accompanied by a burst of energy shockwaves. However, when the two sword skills collided, what made Jian Feng even more incredulous was that the moment the two sword skills collided, his sword skill was shattered by the same sword art as if it was nothing. There was not a single trace of sound. It was as if it was cutting tofu. The blade did not stop or pause in the slightest. Seeing that his sword did not stop at all as it rushed towards Jian Feng, Lin Rei revealed a smile on his face. Whoosh! A sword aura instantly cut through the air, bringing with it a sword cry as it flew towards Jian Feng. Where the sword aura flew past, the space began to distort, as if it was about to break free from the restraints of this space at any time and wanted to cut it into pieces. Not good, even though he found it unbelievable that Lin Rei was able to use the 10,000 sword secret art sword cry, he was more concerned about his own survival. When he sensed the terrifying sword aura rushing towards him, Jian Feng shuddered and regained his senses. His face was filled with fear. However, just as the sword aura was about to reach him, Jian Feng raised the 3-feet-long chilling sword in front of his chest at lightning speed, mobilizing all of his cultivation in an attempt to block the sword aura that was rushing towards him. Too naive. As for Jian Feng's current appearance, Lin Rei only wanted to say that he was too naive. Other people might not know about his own sword aura, but he was very clear about it. Even though it was not as powerful as the divine clone Di Shi Tian, who else in the entire divine world could stand shoulder to shoulder with Jian Feng other than Di Shi Tian? He ignored Jian Feng because even if he did not look, he could already guess the result. He turned around and walked towards the golden light. His speed was not fast. After all, he had already entered the range of the golden light. Lin Rei did not want to attract too much attention and be investigated. Even so, even though he had slowed down, he still attracted the attention of the people from the Talisman sect. This fellow is not simple. Even though his cultivation level is that of a true god, even a divine ancestor would not be able to easily block the sword aura just now. Why would such a person come to our Talisman sect? Indeed, this person's face is ice-cold and his attacks are fast, ruthless and accurate. However, this kind of person is usually the most difficult to control. If we want to lock him in our sect, Sigh. At this moment, the faces of the group of old men in the golden light were filled with shock and amazement after witnessing the scene that Jian Feng had just witnessed. However, at the same time, there was a trace of uneasiness and hesitation under their admiring gazes. Bang! Kacha! In the next moment, a sword aura instantly appeared in front of Jian Feng and collided with the 3-feet-long chilling sword that Jian Feng had blocked in front of his chest. However, Jian Feng did not expect that when the sword aura collided with the long sword, a crack would actually appear on the long sword in his hand. One must know that the long sword in his hand was no ordinary weapon. It was a half-sage weapon. Yet, it was actually, shattered by a sword aura. Not only Jian Feng, even the refiner of this long sword would find it hard to believe this fact. Of course, other people might not know this, but Lin Rei knew very well that it was not something that could be shattered by his sword aura. However, it just so happened that Lin Rei was a weapon refiner. From the moment he saw Jian Feng's long sword, he could tell that although the long sword in Jian Feng's hand was a half-sage weapon, there was a small flaw in the middle of the sword. Although this flaw was usually invisible and would not affect the sword, if it was attacked by a powerful person, it would become like this. Although it was not completely broken, it was no different from being broken. After being broken halfway, all the essence within the sword had already escaped and it was no longer of any use. Pfft, the long sword shattered and the sword aura cancelled it out. Jian Feng, who was connected to the long sword, felt a hot current rolling in his chest. He originally wanted to suppress it but in the end, he could not hold it in and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face instantly turned pale. Jian Feng was speechless as he looked at the broken long sword in his hand. He did not expect things to turn out this way. He lifted his head and looked at Lin Rei's departing figure in bewilderment. Jian Feng's heart was already affected to a certain extent. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was the instigator of this entire incident, had already arrived within 20 meters of the golden light. He was undoubtedly the number one. However, Lin Rei did not give up and continue moving forward because his inconvenience was not being the number one here. Instead, it was being the owner of the banished fairy brush and the talisman grandmaster. Ah. Alright, stop looking. Hurry up and leave. Otherwise, you. However, at this moment, while Jian Feng was bewildered, an old man's voice that was filled with vicissitudes of life entered his ears. You don't need to know who I am. You only need to know that now, you should try your best to fight for the number 2 position. The number 1 position. That person will definitely take it. Moreover, you are no match for him. His sword principle is stronger than yours and it is not just by a little bit. Upon hearing the mysterious old man's words, Jian Feng instantly frowned. Although he did not show it on his face, his heart was already filled with complicated feelings. The sword principle was the existence that he had been pursuing his entire life. It was his son. His final destination. Now, he had encountered someone who was even stronger than him in the sword principle. Moreover, the person was younger than him. This made him unable to accept it, but he could admit defeat. Just like what the old man had said, although the number 1 position was gone, the number 2 position was still there. He could not allow anyone to snatch it away because he would not allow it. As he thought about this, he cast aside these troublesome matters and put away the broken long sword in his hand. Then, he circulated his cultivation and chased after Lin Rei. Towards Jian Feng's reaction, a hint of a smile appeared at the corner of Lin Li's mouth. As a sword practitioner, if you can't even endure such a small setback, then you don't need to continue training in the Tao of the sword, because you aren't worthy. At this moment, Jian Feng once again embarked on his journey of the sword principle. This was his unwavering desire for the sword principle. Otherwise, 15 meters, at this moment, Lin Rei was 5 meters away from the standard. The faces of the people in the golden light were filled with anticipation. However, they did not know that they were about to face an existence that would give them a headache. 12 meters, looking at the boundary in front of him, Lin Rei did not have a trace of excitement in his heart. After all, this was child's play. If it were not for the mission, he would not have come here to do such meaningless things even if he was beaten to death. 10 meters. Finally, he reached the 10 meters mark. At this moment, he looked at the center of the golden light and saw a brush floating in the air. On the shaft of the brush, 9 5-clawed golden dragons were engraved. Above the heads of the 9 5-clawed golden dragons, the words, "Banished Immortal of Heaven and Earth," appeared. TSK. This brush looks good. Just its appearance alone is enough to scare a group of people. I just don't know if it is really as good as the little dragon said. Thinking about it, Lin Rei shook his head indifferently. Anyway, the first time was not to get the banished immortal brush. Getting the banished immortal brush was just a matter of convenience. Therefore, Lin Rei did not care. You are the first place in the first round. You can choose to maintain this result and enter the sect to become a core disciple. Or you can continue to move forward. This is your choice. There is no need to force it. Suddenly, a middle-aged man's voice sounded from behind. From the voice, Lin Rei could hear the disdain and contempt. Sigh. Lin Rei did not pay too much attention to the words of the person behind him. Okay, I will continue. After saying that, he left without sifting. He ignored the person behind him and walked to the side. Wait, wait. And then, just as Linley was about to leave and find a quiet place to wait, a weak voice suddenly rang out. You're right. Huh. He was familiar with this voice. It was Jian Feng's voice. Hearing this, Lin Rei turned around and looked up. At this moment, Jian Feng was looking at Lin Rei with a shameless attitude. Can you tell me where you got the 10,000 sword art, the level of your sword Dao, and, can you tell me about your understanding of the sword Dao? After saying that, he was afraid that Lin Rei would not agree. He quickly promised, as long as you tell me these, your reward will definitely not be low. How about it? Huh? Hearing Jian Feng's words, Lin Rei was speechless. This attitude was clearly very different from before. However, even so, Lin Rei would not say it. It was not that he did not want to, but that he did not care. After all, the level was there. Heh, smiling, Lin Rei said with disdain, you still do not understand the true sword Dao. Moreover, you do not have a sword heart. Even if I tell you, you will not understand. After saying that, Lin Rei turned around and left. He did not say anything else and did not look back. You still do not understand the true sword Dao. At this moment, Lin Rei's words were like a demon's voice that circulated endlessly in Jian Feng's mind. At this moment, in Jian Feng's world, there was only this sentence and nothing else. Chapter 859. Jian Feng, you're the second to arrive. May I ask if you still want to continue? If you don't, you can directly become a core disciple. I wonder what your choice is. I'll continue. Jian Feng did not hesitate at all. Previously, it was because of the banished immortal brush. Now, he had something else. It was none other than Lin Rei's sword Dao. He wanted to ask for guidance, or it could be said that he secretly learned it. After all, his dedication to the sword Dao was much greater than that of the banished immortal brush. Okay. Hearing Jian Feng's choice, a smile appeared on that person's face. Since that's the case, then go to the side and wait. Wait for the final trial. Okay. Jian Feng did not think much and did not say anything unnecessary. He glanced at the person in front of him and then looked in the direction of Lin Rei. Then, he walked towards Lin Rei. Although the words Lin Rei said before left a shadow in his heart that he could not erase for the rest of his life, for the sake of the sword Dao, he did not care. Seeing Jian Feng's action, the person in front of him sighed. Another lunatic who is addicted to the sword Dao. If your master was not so addicted to the sword Dao back then, I'm afraid he would not be the sword sect supreme elder now. He would be the previous sect leader. However, he only sighed. His expression was filled with regret. He did not think much about it and continued to talk. He looked forward and waited. You're still following me? At this moment, when he arrived at the designated waiting area and felt Jian Feng's presence, Lin Rei frowned. He was unhappy and turned around to ask. I want to learn the sword Dao. I want to use the myriad sword technique like you. I thought I understood the myriad sword technique very well. However, when I saw you use the myriad sword technique, I realized that the myriad sword technique I used was just the tip of the iceberg. I want to learn. I want to. Impossible. How could Lin Rei not know what Xiaofan was thinking? Previously, he wanted to kill him. Now, he wanted him to teach him the sword technique and experience. Moreover, he wanted him to help him improve his sword Dao cultivation. Lin Rei only wanted to laugh. It wasn't that Linli was stingy, but rather, it wasn't just Linli himself. Even if it were anyone else, upon hearing how difficult it was to obtain a sword, they wouldn't agree. For no other reason than, he was asking for too much. Why? Seeing Linli reject him so decisively, Xiaofan felt a wave of helplessness and powerlessness in his heart. He hadn't expected that Linli would be so merciless. After all, they had known each other for a while. No reason, I just don't want a hand, I want it. With a cold expression, he found a clean spot and sat down cross-legged. Then, he closed his eyes and began to cultivate. However, upon seeing Linli's reaction, Xiaofan refused to give up. Senior, please, teach me the Tao of the sword, teach me the myriad sword technique. I am the disciple of a high elder of the sword sect, and my master is a hierarch. If you, scram. A muffled sound came from Xiaofang's mouth. In the next moment, blood flowed out from his mouth. His face turned pale and his body trembled. He looked like he was about to fall. At this moment, Linli, who had his eyes closed, was staring at Xiaofan with a cold, murderous look in his eyes. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness. Originally, Lin Rei had a good impression of Lin Rei. But now, after hearing what Xiaofan said, Lin Rei was completely disappointed. What did he mean? Was the Supreme God's master threatening him? So what if he was the Supreme God's master? Would Lin Rei be afraid? Of course, if it was someone else, after hearing that Xiaofan had a Supreme God as a master, they would not hesitate to tell him everything they knew. After all, if they could hug the Supreme God's thigh, their life would be comfortable and they would not have to suffer the cruelty of the cultivation world. His cold eyes stared at Xiaofan. A murderous intent soared into the sky. At this moment, even the 4 old men in the golden light and 10,000 meters in the sky were alarmed. Did you know? The thing I hate the most in my life is when others threaten me. Do you believe that I won't kill you in a matter of minutes? As for your Supreme God's master, and the entire sword sect you speak of, I don't believe that he will dare to attack. If he attacks, then there will be no place for them in the entire God realm. Not only the God realm, but I will also make it impossible for them to establish themselves in the Nether realm, Demon realm, Azura realm, Demon realm and all the other realms. At this moment, Lin Rei did not speak. Instead, he sent a voice transmission to Xiaofan. After all, if those people from the Talisman sect heard what he said, then, what he would do in the future would not be so simple. Xiaofan stopped abruptly. He stood there in a daze when he heard Lin Rei's words. His expression was filled with terror. For some reason, he believed everything Lin Rei said. Even when Lin Rei was speaking, the scene of the sword sect and his master being chased and killed clearly appeared before his eyes. When he saw Xiaofang's stunned appearance, Lin Rei snorted coldly and extended his divine sense. When he noticed that all the old fellows from the Talisman sect were looking at him, Lin Rei was stunned. Only then did he realize that his loss of control and exposed killing intent had drawn their attention. Alas! Looks like I was too careless. My mental state is so weak. Looks like I have to temper my mental state more. Otherwise. It was unknown what Lin Rei had thought of, but he remained silent and shook his head fiercely. He did not want to think anymore. He ignored Xiaofan and returned to normal. He closed his eyes and rested. He did not want to think anymore. At this moment, Lin Rei did not know. Because his moment of rashness had attracted the attention and vigilance of the Talisman Sect's higher-ups. At this moment, Xiaofan, who was in the distance, was looking at Lin Rei, who had his eyes closed. The disdain from before was gone. Instead, it was filled with a strong sense of vigilance. Not to mention him, he had never seen such a powerful existence in the entire God realm when he saw the killing intent emitted by Lin Rei earlier. At this moment, he was vigilant. He was afraid. He did not know why Lin Rei, who possessed such a powerful strength, would come to the Talisman Sect. However, he did not dare to be careless. Because, the Talisman Sect was his and no one could take it away from him. At this moment, Xiaofan decided in his heart that he would give up his life to stop anyone who took the Talisman Sect from him. It was for no other reason than the Talisman Sect was given to him by his master who had passed away. He could not let down his master who had raised him. You must keep a close eye on this person. You must inform me of everything as soon as possible. In the future, you must report to me every 3 days, no, every half a day. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. I will follow Sect Master's orders. At this moment, a charming voice sounded from a place where no one was around. It was impossible to tell whether the voice was male or female, nor was it possible to tell whether the voice was old or young. The only thing that was clear was that it was a person. Yes, you may go. He nodded and did not say anything else. His eyes were fixed on Lin Rei and he continued to stare at him as if he wanted to see through Lin Rei. Why would such a person come to our Talisman Sect? This shouldn't be the case. Why would this be? Yes, why would such a person do this? This shouldn't be the case. Besides the banished immortal brush, there doesn't seem to be anything else in our sect that could interest him, right? Yes, at this moment, Lin Rei, who was immersed in the pleasure of cultivation, did not know that his moment of carelessness had caused the higher-ups of the Talisman Sect to be on guard against him. Time passed bit by bit. The sun slowly set and night was about to arrive. At this moment, more than 10 people had arrived at the 10-meter mark and passed the first round of tests. Moreover, they had completed the test in a way that exceeded everyone's expectations. Among these 10 people, there were 2 or 3 women. As for the rest, they were all men. In fact, one of them was even a child. This person was none other than Wuxia. With Lin Rei's help, even though his cultivation had not broken through, it was still easy for him to reach this place. As for those who reached the 30-meter mark, there were more than 100 people. Those who were able to reach the 30-meter mark were the elite disciples of various sections. As for the remaining people, some of them had already reached the edge. However, due to their own reasons, they could only be eliminated in the end. As for those who did not come, they were basically eliminated halfway. Of course, the middle-aged man who announced the results was very satisfied with these people. After all, it was already very good for them to be able to draw out so many cultivators in such a difficult competition. The middle-aged man was overjoyed as he looked at them. Everyone, those who can reach the 10-meter mark will directly become a core disciple of the sect. Those who can reach the 20-meter mark will become an inner disciple of the sect. Those who can reach the 50-meter mark will be able to enter the second round of tests. As he spoke, his gaze swept across the surroundings and his expression was filled with gratification. Now, there are 2 choices in front of you. First, you can enter the sect and not continue. Second, you can continue and participate in the final test for the banished immortal brush. What do you choose? Hearing these choices, the crowd hesitated. Of course, there were pros and cons to these two choices. After all, it was a connate spiritual treasure that was so tempting. Who could resist such temptation? 10 minutes later, the crowd fell silent. The scene fell into silence. No one spoke, and there was no discussion. This matter was their own matter. Even the people around them would become their enemies. At this moment, everyone's hearts were filled with torment, conflict, and difficulty to choose. All right, the choice is over. Tell me your choice. At this moment, the middle-aged man frowned and a trace of displeasure appeared on his face. Those who choose to continue, stand on the left. Those who choose to enter the sect, stand on the right. Let's begin. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, the crowd began to divide into groups. Most of them chose to continue, and only a small number chose to give up. After all, the temptation of a connate spiritual treasure was fatal. Seeing that the crowd had neatly divided themselves, the middle-aged man, who was originally displeased, smiled. All right, since you've chosen to continue, then, those who choose to enter the sect may leave. There will be disciples outside who will lead you into the sect. As for the remaining disciples who want to continue with the gift, stand where you are and wait. The test will begin soon. Yes, we'll obey. Hearing the middle-aged man's instructions, the disciples who chose to enter the sect left. As for him, he also walked towards the depths of the golden light. Phew, seeing the middle-aged man leave, the crowd heaved a sigh of relief and relaxed. In another place, two people were alone. One of them was sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed, resting, while the other was standing where he was in a daze, not knowing what to do. He had heard the middle-aged man's choice, but seeing that Lin Rei was not moving, he did not dare to move. Because of what had happened before, he was afraid. However, after a while, Lin Rei was still in the same state, like an old monk in meditation. In the end, there was nothing he could do. Say, Senior, that, the next round of the test is about to begin. Do you? Suddenly, Linley, who had been in the middle of cultivation, frowned, retracted his cultivation base, and withdrew from his cultivation. When he opened his eyes, a glint flashed across them. Is it starting? Looking at the crowd gathering in the distance, the frown on his face relaxed, and a look of anticipation appeared on his face. Got it. You can go now. Lin Rei did not have anything to say to Jian Feng's reminder. After all, Jian Feng's foolish actions had made Lin Rei feel disgusted. Yes. Without saying anything else, Jian Feng turned around and left with a dejected figure. Come out. At this moment, as soon as Jian Feng left, Linley's gaze swept the area where there was no one as he spoke. You're not coming out? His gaze locked into the distance, and seeing that there was no reaction, a cold smile appeared on his face. Since that's the case, don't blame me. Just a moment ago, when Jian Feng woke him up, he felt that someone was staring at him. For a moment, an unknown flame ignited in his heart. Whoosh, a sword light, carrying a cold killing intent, rushed towards the direction of the gaze. It was as fast as lightning. What? Whoosh, a scream was heard, and a black figure appeared where Lin Rei's gaze was locked on. A black-clothed man appeared, and seeing the sword light rushing towards him, the black-clothed man's face was filled with shock and anxiety. However, this was not the time for him to be in a daze. The killing intent emitted from the sword light caused the black-robed man's scalp to go numb and his face to turn pale. He used his cultivation base and displayed his fastest speed. In the end, he narrowly avoided the attack. Even so, a scarlet wound appeared on his arm. Hiss, feeling the pain on his arm, the black-clothed man turned his head to look. When he saw the wound, his eyes widened, and he sucked in a breath of cold air. This. How is this possible? The black-clothed man was very clear about his cultivation, and he did not expect that he would be injured by a young man. "Speak. Why are you staring at me? Who sent you?" Lin Rei did not care about the black-clothed man's words, and he went straight to the point. "I am," at this moment, the black-clothed man, who was still in shock, subconsciously wanted to reply. However, the moment he opened his mouth, the black-clothed man came back to his senses, and quickly swallowed the words he wanted to say. Chapter 860. I was only passing by. It just so happened that. At this moment, the black-clothed man hurriedly organized his thoughts and spoke. Just happened to pass by? Lin Rei was speechless when he saw that the black-clothed man was able to lie without blushing. He had been there since the beginning and had been staring at this place. If he was just passing by, he would not have stayed here for such a long time. Furthermore, he had only appeared after the black-clothed man had unleashed his murderous aura. Therefore, Lin Rei would not believe the black-clothed man's nonsense of merely passing by. "That's right, I was just passing by." However, the black-clothed man's eyes were like lightning as he stared at Lin Rei. A trace of iciness was released from his eyes as he said, "However, I was just passing by and had actually discovered a powerful cultivator like you. I'm a little puzzled. May I know if you can give me the answer I want?" Tell me." "It depends on my mood. If I'm in a good mood, I'll tell you. If I'm in a bad mood, tsk." Lin Rei was well aware of the black-clothed man's thoughts. "Therefore, I'm even more curious." The black-clothed man stared at Lin Rei as he spoke. "I'm even more curious as to why a powerful existence like you would come to my symbol sect. Moreover, why would you participate in such a meaningless competition? It should be extremely easy for you to obtain the first place, right?" "That's right." Lin Rei shrugged his shoulders in disbelief. Obtaining the first place is indeed extremely easy and effortless. In fact, it would be the same if I were to kill you. However, so what? I am doing what I like. Are you going to stick your nose into this as well?" A sharp gaze shot towards the black-clothed man as he spoke. The black-clothed man was stunned when he sensed Lin Rei's gaze. His body instinctively took a step back and his body even instinctively assumed a defensive posture. "Are you afraid of me?" Lin Rei asked with interest as he stared at the black-clothed man's defensive posture. Lin Rei was exceptionally patient when it came to the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man subconsciously wanted to reply to Lin Rei's question. I am more curious. You said that you like it, but I do not believe that you do not have any other needs in the symbol sect. Furthermore, this exalted believes that your strength has already. I believe that in the divine realm, only a certain class of people would dare to use this title. What I am more curious about is who gave you the courage to do so. Who gave me the guts? Looking at the man in black, Lin Rei suddenly had the urge to laugh, but, at this moment, he was talking to him. It was actually quite interesting. The man in black didn't believe that he was a divine venerable cultivator because he didn't believe that a divine venerable cultivator would be so bored as to come to the talisman sect to do something so boring. Furthermore, the Lin Rei before him was simply too young. He did not believe that such a young person would actually be in existence that stood at the apex of the divine realm. He did not believe, nor did he dare to think in that direction. Therefore, he subconsciously led the indicator that was originally leading in the right direction to the wrong path again. That's right. Who gave you the courage? You should know that if a divine venerable cultivator were to find out what you call yourself, I'm afraid, you won't be able to live for long. Of course. The man in black who wanted to see Lin Rei's frightened expression was filled with disappointment. That was because not only was there no fear on Lin Rei's face, there was even a tearful expression on his face. His gaze was as if he was looking at a fool. The man in black was puzzled by Lin Rei's expression. However, he continued to talk to himself, "If you are going to talk about me, then I will not tell anyone about this. Perhaps I will even give you a position in the Talisman Sect. What do you think?" Clap, clap, clap. Suddenly, a round of applause was heard. "You are truly amazing. Giving this exalted a position in the Talisman Sect? You are truly amazing." However, Lin Rei's originally gentle voice was instantly filled with coldness. "However, I am simply not interested in the position that you are talking about. You are unable to give me the position that I like. Tell me, what do you think this time, what position do you want?" At this moment, the man in black's heart suddenly trembled. A bad premonition surged into his heart. For some unknown reason, he had a slight guess about the position that Lin Rei wanted. However, the moment this thought appeared, he immediately killed it in the cradle. That was because that position was not something that anyone could obtain just because they wanted it. Moreover, he subconsciously did not think that the person before him was a match for the Talisman Sect master, Sun Feng. Lin Rei looked at him and the man in black. Then, he slowly opened his mouth and spoke very clearly. "The position that I want to sit in is your Talisman Sect master's position. Although it is not very comfortable to sit there, I have no choice. I have no choice but to do it. What do you think?" Sure enough, the bad feeling in his heart completely surfaced. The thought that he had already killed was completely exposed at this moment. The man in black's face was filled with shock and disbelief as he looked at Lin Rei. He really could not understand where the person before him got his confidence from. He actually wanted to sit in that position. Although he did not believe it, the confident expression on Lin Rei's face caused the man in black to subconsciously begin to believe it. Moreover, this kind of belief was gradually increasing. "Don't be nervous. I am not a barbaric person. I am a very cultured person. I will not use any other methods other than convincing people with reason." Lin Rei did not lie to him about this. After all, this was a rule set by the system. He could not use any external force. Moreover, what made Lin Rei even more speechless was that he could not use any force during the entire process. Otherwise, Lin Rei could finish him off with a single spear. "Ha, ha," the man in black laughed. However, his laughter was even uglier than crying at this moment. He really could not understand why the person in front of him was acting like this. "Laugh all you want. However, you can only laugh here. Moreover, don't even think about bringing this matter out. Moreover, don't even think about challenging my bottom line because you can't afford it." Whoosh, after saying that, Lin Rei's figure instantly became illusory. In the end, he disappeared. The entire process did not even take a second. Hiss. At this moment, the man in black could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. His eyes widened and his face turned pale. His face was filled with malevolence. At this moment, sweat flowed freely from his forehead. Droplets of sweat dripped onto the ground. His heart was filled with fear. At this moment, at the neck of the man in black, there was a long sword with lightning. The sound of the lightning was like the sneer of the Grim Reaper. "Do you remember what I said just now?" A cold voice came from behind him. Hearing this, the man in black did not dare to turn his head. At this moment, his body was so weak that it stiffened on the spot. He could not control himself. I heard it. TSK, although I heard your reply, but I am still a little worried. Tell me, what else can I do?" Hearing this, the man in black cried, "F***ck, I already promised you. What else do you want? What do you want?" Of course, he could not say this out loud. He did not want his head to be separated from his body in the next moment. Silence. At this moment, the man in black could only choose to remain silent. He did not know what to say. In the end, he could only choose to remain silent. After all, silence was golden. Silence represented everything. "Oh, you still want to play silence with me?" Seeing the man in black's silence, Lin Rei smiled. "All right, since you are silent, let me handle this." After saying that, he did not give the man in black any time to think. With a thought, a soul-controlling pill appeared in his hand. Whoosh, a ray of light appeared in an instant. In the end, it rushed into the man in black's mouth at an extremely fast speed. Gulp. Subconsciously, the man in black swallowed the soul-controlling pill in his mouth. However, in the next moment, when the man in black came back to his senses, his face was as pale as paper. After such a long time, how could he not know the meaning of the thing he ate? In the next moment, the man in black wanted to dig his throat and vomit out the thing that went into his mouth. However, Lin Rei's voice sounded in his ears. "Don't waste your effort. Don't waste your energy. There's no other way. That thing is an elixir. It melts in the mouth. Moreover, it's hard to find an elixir for this lord. You can't even buy one outside." This was a joke, but it was also true. After all, it was indeed hard to find an elixir for a saint-level elixir. Perhaps even the saints of the holy world would beg Lin Rei to refine pills for them if they knew that Lin Rei was a saint-grade alchemist. What did you feed me?" The man in black roared. "Soul-controlling pill. It is a type of pill that can control you. However, don't worry." Knowing the man in black's worries, Lin Rei comforted him. "Don't compare my pill with those fake pills. My pill will only make you respect me. It will not make you speak of our conversation. As for other things, such as controlling your body and consciousness, trust me. It will not happen." The man in black did not want to believe Lin Rei's words. However, who knew that just as the thought of disbelief appeared, a mysterious energy would instantly kill it. In the end, other than his trust in Lin Rei, there was nothing else. At this moment, the man in black was extremely shocked. He had never heard of this pill before. However, it was just as he said. If this pill could be mass-produced, then stop thinking about it. Just as the man in black thought of this, he heard Lin Rei's warning. He immediately trembled and nodded, not daring to act rashly. The effect is not bad. Lin Rei was quite satisfied with the man in black's current reaction. "Tell me. What is your name? Who sent you? What do you want?" After speaking so much nonsense, the main topic had arrived. "Master, this subordinate is Xiaofan. I am the leader of the secret guards in the Talisman Sect." Previously, Xiaofan sensed that something was wrong with Master and was very afraid of Master. Therefore, he sent this subordinate to keep an eye on you and report back after half a day. "Xiaofan." Hearing how obedient Xiaofan was, Lin Rei smiled. However, after hearing the man's intention, a chill rose from the bottom of his heart and instantly soared. Xiaofan, the sect master of the Talisman Sect. I didn't expect that you would take the initiative to come here before I went to look for you. However, this is also good. It saves me the trouble of looking for you." As he spoke, he looked at Xiaofan and a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Master, although he had eaten the soul-controlling pill, he still had his own consciousness. Seeing how affectionate Lin Rei was, Xiaofan immediately knew that someone was going to be in trouble. "I have a mission for you. Master, please tell me. Since Xiaofan asked you to keep an eye on me, you will continue to keep an eye on me." Plop. Before Lin Rei could finish his words, Qiu Yang's body trembled and he knelt on the ground. His body was trembling slightly as though he had experienced something terrifying. "Get up first and listen to me." Lin Rei felt a little helpless in the face of Qiu Yang's reaction. "Oh." Qiu Yang replied and stood up respectfully. He lowered his head and did not dare to speak. He did not even dare to look at Lin Rei directly. Sigh. Seeing how Qiu Yang was behaving, Lin Rei was too lazy to correct him. Follow Xiaofan's instructions and report back after half a day. Of course, the most important thing is that you have to reveal my matters to him bit by bit. As for the other matters, you don't have to worry about them first. Ah. Hearing Lin Rei's instructions, Qiu Yang's eyes were filled with doubt. Although he was filled with doubts, he still nodded his head. "Alright, that's good. You may go." Waving his hand, Renbaqian asked Qiu Yang to leave. "Yes, I will take my leave now." Although Qiu Yang was filled with doubts, he still endured it and left. On the other side, alright, the second round of the competition is about to begin. The gathering of cultivators will begin immediately. The middle-aged man who had left earlier returned and announced. In an instant, the crowd exploded. "It's about to begin." In the distance, when Renbaqian heard the middle-aged man's words, he smiled and said to himself. Then, he flashed into the crowd. "The next round will be a duel. It's a last-minute decision. For the sake of the safety of their cultivators, the top 10 can enter and be subdued." What? Hearing the middle-aged man's decision, some of the people present were stunned. They did not expect the competition to be decided at the last minute. However, they had no choice. After all, this was the Talisman Grandmaster and not their home. In the end, they could only accept it. The top 10. However, Lin Rei, who was in the crowd, had an interesting smile on his face. To him, no matter how many stages there were, they would be useless. They would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. You don't have to participate." The sudden words caused Linley, who had been interested, to be stunned. "Who do you think you are?" At this moment, Lin Rei was extremely depressed. Motherf **Ker, why is there no end to this? Previously, there was one, and now there's another. Who I am is not important." At this moment, a man who had appeared behind Lin Rei out of nowhere stared at Lin Rei with a hint of hesitation in his eyes. Not important? Without turning around, Renbaqian continued to look ahead with disdain in his heart. "Indeed, it's not important. You." Even though the old man had said it previously, it had a different meaning when it came from Lin Rei's mouth. "What about you? Don't play with me. Why don't you let me participate? You. I believe that you must have hidden your cultivation. Furthermore, are you sure that your cultivation is suitable for you to participate?" But even though the old man was right, this did not mean that he would give up. Turning around, the old man's face appeared in front of Lin Rei. Looking at him, Lin Rei's voice was filled with determination. "Even though it's not suitable, but I want." As he spoke, he lifted his finger and pointed at the floating banishing immortal brush in the golden light with an excited look on his face. Chapter 861. When the old man saw that Lin Rei had completely disobeyed his orders, he felt as if he had lost all his dignity. His anger instantly soared to the sky. This was the first time he had been disregarded and disobeyed by a senior ever since he had started cultivating. How could he possibly endure this? "Why? Do you want to fight me?" Lin Rei looked at the old man with disdain. Deep down, he was looking forward to the old man making a move. After all, he would then have a reason to make a move without knowing the rules of the system's mission. When that time comes, everyone would make a move and destroy all the higher-ups in the symbol sect. He believed that it would not be difficult for him to become the sect master of the symbol sect. Furthermore, the system had said that he would become the sect master of the symbol sect. However, it did not say how long it would take. Therefore, in Lin Rei's opinion, the system was not omnipotent. However, reality was always different from one's imagination. The more one thought about it, the less likely the situation would develop. The originally incomparably calm old man was originally on the verge of going berserk. However, who would have thought that just as the other party was about to do something, he would instantly restrain himself. His malevolent face revealed a smile that was even uglier than crying. "All right, since you don't want to withdraw, then forget it. The symbol sect has always won people over with virtue. Since you want to participate, I will not stop you, huh?" Puzzled, he looked at the old man. Linley was completely bewildered. What was the meaning of his earlier words? What happened to his previous impulse? What happened to his previous impulse to attack? What the hell is going on? Why did it turn out like this in the blink of an eye? What is he trying to do? My time is limited, okay. His heart was going crazy, but he could not show it in the end. All he could do was wait quietly for the next step. His original shortcut had been ruined by this idiot in front of him. At this moment, he had entered Lin Rei's blacklist. "All right, if you want to participate, go ahead. I look forward to your next performance." He spoke in a gentle tone like a gentle and quiet old man. It was a stark contrast to his hideous appearance from before. Pfft! Lin Rei rolled his eyes at the old man and let him experience it for himself. He then walked forward and distanced himself from the old man. "Humph, little bastard, just you wait. Once this is over, I'll kill you." Standing in place and looking at Lin Rei's back, the tranquility on his face disappeared and was replaced by endless hatred and malevolence. Of course, the crowd did not notice it. After all, he was an elder of the talisman sect. Thus, he had already placed some talismans on his body when he arrived here. Unless he wanted others to see it, grandfather. A weak voice came from behind. A young man in white clothes walked out from behind. His overall appearance was not bad, and he looked calm. His skin was as white as snow, and his skin was like ice. His eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes were like stars. One look at his deep eyes and you would be deeply attracted. Chen. However, when he heard that voice, the originally ferocious expression on the old man's face quickly changed, and a smile appeared on his face. It could be seen that the expression on the old man's face was sincere. His eyes couldn't lie. That pair of doting eyes, unless it was his true feelings, otherwise, Jin Chen was the grandson of the elder of the talisman sect, Jin Buhuan. His cultivation was extremely powerful, and he was a divine guard. Moreover, his talisman Dao had already reached the heaven grade. It could be said that he was a rare talent in the Jin family. Jin Buhuan was referring to the old man in front of him. At the same time, he was also the third elder of the talisman sect. His cultivation had already reached the late divine emperor realm. "Grandfather, the competition is about to begin. What are you doing here?" Jin Chen asked curiously. I'm here to see a little fellow." As if he was afraid that his grandson would see through his intentions, he quickly changed the topic. All right. Do your best during the competition. Safety comes first. Do you understand? At this moment, Gold Unchangeable was the embodiment of a warm grandfather's love for his grandson. It was no longer as spicy as before. I understand. Don't worry, I'll remember. Jin Chen chuckled when he saw his grandfather's concern. He then waved his hand and said, "That's all. Grandfather, I'll go first." Then, without waiting for Jin Buhuan to speak, Jin Chen jogged away from the crowd and walked forward. Looking at his grandson's departing figure, Jin Buhuan sighed, his face full of helplessness. "Ai. Why is my grandson so weak? Why does he have to let nature take its course? Your father isn't like you either. Whose son are you?" Sometimes, Jin Buhuan really suspected that Jin Chen wasn't his grandson. After all, the characters of his father and grandfather were completely different from his. They were two completely different versions. Of course, this was just a thought. He didn't think too much about it. After all, he was the one who watched his grandson being born. Sigh. Forget it. Do whatever you want. As long as you're not in danger, I don't have any extravagant hopes. He sighed and looked in the direction that Jin Chen left. Then, he turned around and left the crowd. In a flash, he walked into the depths of the golden light. "Everyone, let's start drawing lots." At this moment, the middle-aged host said, "There are a total of 240 numbers here. Both groups are the same. Each of you will have to draw a number. I'll shout. Whoever has that number will come up here, and so on." After all the written tests are over, we'll draw lots, and so on until the last 10 are chosen. Everyone, if there's anything you don't understand, please ask. If not, let's begin. After he said that, there was a moment of silence in the hall. No one said anything, and they just stood there in a daze. In response, the middle-aged man nodded. "All right, since that's the case. You can start drawing lots now." Then, the middle-aged host took out rows of jade slips. At this moment, everyone moved. Everyone went up the mountain and drew their own jade slips. They were very nervous. At this moment, the person who had been standing there until everyone had drawn their lots slowly went up and picked up the last jade slip. He opened it and saw that one word was carved on it. Number 1. When he saw the number that he had drawn, a smile appeared on his face. I didn't expect it to be so fast. I didn't expect to be the first to go up." He wasn't dissatisfied with the number that he had drawn because it didn't matter to him. After all, there was another person in the crowd who was worth his time. "Damn, it can't be. Number 2? Why am I the second to go up?" At this moment, a young man looked at the number that he had drawn with a bitter expression. It's fine. We have to go up in the morning and at night. In my opinion, it's better to save time at night. That way, we won't feel pressured." You're right. Alright, don't be upset. There are countless experts here. Anyway, you don't have any hope of entering the Talisman Grandmaster. Just come here to play. Don't be too serious. If you're serious, you'll lose. That's, really. At the side, a smile appeared on his face when he heard their conversation. However, he had to admit that although it sounded a little unreliable, he realized that it was, right after he thought about it. It wasn't just him. A portion of the people in the crowd who had drawn the number near the front also had the same expression. Lin Rei was speechless. A few minutes later, the middle-aged man in charge of the crowd said, "All right, I believe that you've all drawn your number. Remember him. Perhaps, he'll be your opportunity." As he spoke, he didn't wait for the crowd to refute him and continued, "Since that's the case, let's begin. Now, let's invite number 1 to the arena to compete." After he finished speaking, the middle-aged man waved his hand. A huge arena suddenly appeared in an open space not far away. A "hua" sound was heard and the crowd went into an uproar. Everyone was from a clan or sect. Naturally, their horizons were not low. When they saw the arena, the words late stage of the divine level appeared in their minds. Damn, how extravagant. A divine weapon so casually appeared. TSK. As expected of a large sect. It's really amazing. That's right. Hearing the crowd's discussion, the middle-aged man in charge of the crowd in the distance revealed an indescribable smile on his face. It was as if the crowd wasn't praising the arena but him. A bunch of bumpkins. It's just a late-stage divine weapon. Is there a need to be so excited? Really? At this moment, the crowd didn't know what Lin Rei was thinking. If they knew, they would definitely glare at him fiercely. Moreover, if they knew that Lin Rei could refine divine weapons, they would be even more speechless. Some of them would even say, "Damn you, you think you're so great because you're a weapon refiner? Divine weapons are divine weapons. You can be arrogant if you're a weapon refiner, but we're not." Of course, the crowd didn't know what Lin Rei was thinking, let alone what he was thinking. Looking at the arena taking shape, Lin Rei smiled disdainfully. Then, he stepped out of the crowd and walked toward the arena. Although his speed wasn't fast in the eyes of the crowd, what was strange was that Lin Rei arrived in front of the arena very quickly. As for the other person, he was stunned when he heard his name being called. Then, he slowly walked out of the crowd and finally came to the arena. Looks like there's no suspense in this round. At this moment, Xiaofan, who was in the crowd, looked at the contestant who was going to fight with Lin Rei. For a moment, a look of disdain and pity appeared on his face. "TSK, I hope this person can be more open-minded after this experience. Don't be so stubborn." Sigh. At this moment, in the crowd, Wuxia, who had the same thought as Xiaofan, also felt pity for that person. They were very clear about Lin Rei's strength, so, they were in awe and pity for the stranger in the arena. They were in awe because that person dared to fight with Lin Rei, and pity because they sympathized with that person's luck. In the first round, he met Lin Rei, who was an insurmountable mountain. "Okay, contestants, get ready. Let's begin." At this moment, the middle-aged man gave the order. Suddenly, layers of energy rose up and enveloped the arena. Looking at the middle-aged man's action and the protective shield around the arena, a look of disdain appeared on his face. Looking up at his opponent, Lin Rei kindly advised, "Kid, it's not too late to back out now. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen later." What? Although there was an energy shield around the arena, the crowd could clearly hear their conversation. However, at this moment, when they heard Lin Rei's words, the crowd was in an uproar. Even the middle-aged host was in an uproar. There hasn't been such an arrogant person in the past. It seems like this is the first time. TSK. The middle-aged man was not optimistic about Lin Rei. He thought that Lin Rei was an arrogant and conceited person. However, Xiaofan and Wuxia did not think so. They knew Lin Rei's strength, so, they silently prayed that the person would listen to Lin Rei's words. Maybe it would be better if he left the arena like this. However, reality was always relative. This matter was obviously not disadvantageous to you, but you were biased. There was no other way, arrogant. When the young man opposite Lin Rei heard Lin Rei's words, his originally timid heart seemed to have been stimulated. He was stunned for a moment and growled in a low voice. Lin Rei's words seemed to have stimulated his self-esteem. Although he was even more afraid, he still used it to fight. His cultivation was suitable. He instantly released his cultivation as a divine guard. A surge of towering anger broke out from his body. A long sword appeared in his hand and his figure disappeared in a flash. Not bad. Would attribute spiritual root. Although it's not the best, it's still a mid-high grade spiritual root. TSK. This strength is not bad. The moment the young man disappeared, a surge of wood attribute spiritual energy appeared. Sensing this, Lin Rei immediately determined the attribute of the young man and his cultivation. As for the figure that disappeared, it had been in Lin Rei's consciousness since the beginning. Although his magic art was very rare, it was nothing in front of an expert. Looking ahead, Lin Rei shook his head with a regretful expression. I told you to retreat, but you didn't listen. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. What? Hearing this, the young man who used his magic art to attack Lin Rei was stunned. However, he did not think too much about it. After all, he did not believe that he would lose. Sigh. Lin Rei sighed when he saw the young man's action. Then, he shook his head and released his cultivation. His body moved and instantly disappeared. What, this? In the dark, seeing the target of his attack disappear, the young man panicked. The young man was frantic, and he immediately scanned the area, wanting to find Linley. Are you really looking for me? Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind him. Suddenly, the young man's body froze. His face was filled with a bitter smile. Then, he turned around to check. TSK, what a pity for the wood attribute. You could have developed very well. Why didn't you listen to me? At this moment, Lin Rei, who disappeared, appeared behind the young man. He was very regretful. However, in the next moment, the regret disappeared and was replaced by endless killing intent. When the young man was halfway through turning around, a hand tightly grabbed his neck. A surge of hidden energy instantly entered the young man's body. Boom! A muffled sound came from the young man's body. Scarlet blood flowed out from the young man's mouth. Sigh. Lin Rei sighed. Then, he exerted force in his arm and threw the young man out of the arena. One move. Just one move to end the battle. This strength. Chapter 862. No one said a word. Everyone stared at the arena in shock. Their eyes were wide open and their mouths were wide open. It was as if they could stuff a few eggs in. It happened so fast that no one knew what happened. It was already over. Gulp. Jin Chen swallowed his saliva in shock. Perhaps it was because everyone was so shocked that they fell silent, but the sound of him swallowing his saliva was very loud. Too strong. Who is this person? Why haven't I seen him before? Why haven't I heard of his name in the divinity world? Jin Chen wondered. If Gold Buhuan knew what his grandson was thinking right now, he'd probably vomit blood from anger. The person he wanted to kill had become his grandson's idol. This was so dramatic. It was really, you can announce it now. After doing all this, he clapped his hands and said coldly to the referee. The referee was still in shock. When he heard that, his body trembled. He came back to his senses and said with a shocked expression, yes, he said, yes, 3 times in a row. Then he continued, Lin Rei is here for the first round. When the referee's words reached everyone's ears, they strangely didn't applaud. They didn't see any admiration in the crowd's eyes. There was only vigilance and shock. Even the referee felt uneasy. Although the arena was only a late-stage divine artifact, it wasn't something that could be broken so easily. Moreover, Lin Rei's move was too casual. Seeing this scene, everyone in the arena came to a conclusion. If they met Linley in the arena, they wouldn't say a single word, and they definitely wouldn't recklessly rush up and attack him. The only decent way out was to forfeit. Otherwise, thinking about it, everyone couldn't help but look at the young man lying on the ground like a dead dog. His breathing was so weak that if they didn't look carefully, they would think that he was dead. Of course, judging from the situation, they didn't think that he could survive. Because, just a moment ago, his breathing had completely disappeared. Just like that, an outstanding genius was killed in an instant. Furthermore, there was not a single trace of sloppiness. It was a clean and crisp death. He did not even have the ability to fight back. SSS. Phew, looking at the silent scene, the head judge took a deep breath. He then exhaled, calming himself down and returning to his usual calmness. Of course, this was only on the surface. Her shocked heart was still open to him. The first round is over. Let's move on to the second round. Number 2, please step up. As he spoke, the referee waved his hand. The barrier that had been broken earlier was restored to its original state with a wave of his hand. Everything was back to normal, as if it had never been broken. Lin Rei's eyes flickered with extraordinary splendor when he saw this scene. Of course, it only lasted for an instant before vanishing without a trace. The third round, round 35. Begin. And so, one duel after another went on. Lin couldn't be bothered to pay any attention to these duels. After the duels were over, he found a place where no one was around and sat down cross-legged, ignoring them. Lin Rei would rather use this short period of time to comprehend the Tao of talismans, Tao of smithing, and Tao of formations. After all, these 3 Taos were about to break through to the saint level. Rather than watching these boring battles, it was better to make use of the time to break through. After all, these Taos would be very useful in the holy world. However, after an unknown amount of time, the arena became very intense. Although it was a competition, in order to save time, everyone went up and attacked with all their might. Therefore, the first round of sour beans was over very quickly, and the second round of the competition had begun. Senior, the second round is about to begin. I wonder if you... At this moment, a familiar voice and a familiar scene appeared again. Lin Rei was speechless. Without opening his eyes, Lin Rei knew that the person who spoke was none other than Jian Feng. Towards him. Lin Rei was speechless. After answering, he stopped meditating and opened his eyes. Looking at the arena, he did not have the chance to stand up and go up to Jian Feng. In the end, he went up to the arena. The judge was helpless towards Lin Rei's actions, but he did not stop him. After all, it was his turn to fight. However, in the next moment, when Lin Rei opened his mouth, the judge regretted it. Standing in the middle of the arena, Lin Rei was impatient. These battles were too troublesome. Therefore, at this moment, Lin Rei made a decision that shocked everyone. Looking at the people below, Lin Rei spoke. His voice entered everyone's mind. Since you want to fight, let's save some time. Come at me together. My time is limited. It's too troublesome to fight one battle after another. So, come at me together. Then, he raised his hand and hooked his finger at the crowd. This action was nothing in Lin Rei's eyes. However, in the eyes of the crowd, it was an arrogant and insufferably arrogant behavior. Coupled with his words, at this moment, the crowd was furious. Even the judge was furious. Although Lin Rei was powerful, he did not expect him to be so arrogant. He wanted to fight all of them alone. Although many of them had been eliminated, there were still at least 40 to 50 of them. Even a god king would not dare to say that he could handle them all at once. Not to mention, there were 1 or 2 god kings among them. Although they were hiding their cultivation base, it was still possible to see through them. Of course, although the judge was not satisfied with Lin Rei's attitude and behavior, he was still the judge. Therefore, even though he was unwilling, he still tried to persuade Lin Rei. Lin Rei, don't try to be brave. You want to fight all of them alone? Can you bear it? Besides, there are so few people here. I believe it will be over soon. Don't. Lin Rei rolled his eyes at the judge. Then, he retorted, may I ask, is there a rule that says I can't fight all of them? Go away. I will follow the rules. But. Then, with a sword in his hand, the domineering chi of the world rushed out. His insufferably arrogant face was exposed. But, since there is no rule, I have a challenge. All of them, unless they don't want to. Or, they don't have the guts. So, as he spoke, he looked at the crowd with a provocative expression. So, your choice is. At this moment, hearing Lin Rei's stupefied expression, the judge became even more furious. However, what Lin Rei said was not unreasonable. It was just that the judge felt uncomfortable. Originally, he wanted to protect Lin Rei. However, he did not expect that he would be refuted in such a blatant manner. What the hell? That person's legs were not clamped tightly together. Why did such a person jump out? That's right. Who does he think he is? A divine sect? A divine lord? A god emperor? He actually dares to challenge all of us by himself. He must be tired of living. TSK, he's just someone who thinks too highly of himself. He thinks that he's amazing just because he has a little bit of strength. Does he not know that there is always someone better than him? At this moment, the crowd was very dissatisfied with Lin Rei's behavior. However, among the crowd's complaints, there were two people who had smiles on their faces the entire time. In fact, after hearing the crowd's disdain and discussion, the smiles on their faces instantly disappeared. It was replaced with expressions of disdain. They were none other than Xiaofan, who already knew how powerful Lin Rei was. The second person was naturally Wuxia, who already recognized Lin Rei as her master. Lin Rei did not care about the crowd's discussion at all. Instead, he had a smile on his face. He stood alone on the stage with Xiaofan and Wuxia, waiting for the crowd to make their move. Are you sure? At this moment, the judge could not help but ask. After all, this had never happened before. He did not know how to deal with it. However, looking at Lin Rei's determined expression, he knew that the person before him was serious. Yes, I'm sure. Knowing that the judge was being kind, Lin Rei's tone became gentler and he nodded. Sigh. The judge sighed. Since the other party did not care, what right did he have to criticize him? With that thought, the judge took a step back and left the stage in a flash. He went to a secluded place and quietly waited for the result. Humph, arrogant thief. Since you are so arrogant and conceited, let me have a taste of your strength. I want to see if you can challenge all of us here. The crowd fell silent. But at this moment, a young man with a coarse appearance and a muscular body appeared. He gave off the impression of a fierce man. He held a halberd behind his back and exuded an imposing aura. His figure flashed and in the next moment, he appeared on the stage. Arrogant thief, come and face your death. Boom. He released his late-stage divine guard cultivation and an enormous amount of spiritual energy. The oppressive aura of a divine guard pressed down on Lin Rei. Lin Rei revealed a trace of admiration when he saw the young man before him. After all, he dared to come alone. However, this alone wasn't enough to make Lin Li feel anything towards him. Just now, when the young man came up, Lin Li felt a sense of familiarity in his heart. Although he couldn't put his finger on it, he just felt a sense of familiarity. Are you sure you want to fight me alone? You don't need the help of others? Lin Rei could not help but tease. No need. I alone am enough to deal with you. Make your move. This, all right. Since the other party had already said so much, if Linley didn't make a move, wouldn't he be letting the other party down? After making his decision, Lin Rei moved. His figure disappeared in an instant. When he reappeared, he was behind the young man. But unlike before, Lin Rei was not filled with murderous intent. Go back and practice more. Your spear intent has not reached its peak. I am looking forward to seeing you in the future. I wonder if you will surprise me when I see you again. When he heard this, the young man's body trembled. He subconsciously wanted to turn around, but the moment he turned around, his body became light. He looked down and saw that he had left the ground. At this moment, Lin Rei's voice was heard again. Think about it carefully. The spear is the master of all weapons. It can move forward without fear. I still can't do it without hesitation and without any distractions. Whoosh! Before the young man could say anything, the sound of something breaking through the air was heard. The young man appeared in the air and fell to the ground in the distance. After doing all this, Lin Rei gestured to the crowd and said, "How about it? Do you want to come together? Sometimes I am really curious. You all call yourselves geniuses, but ask yourselves, are you?" As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd was once again thrown into a perilous situation, stirring up the anger of the crowd. Bastard! He cursed, but he did not dare to go up because the person just now was stronger than him. So, coward! Looking at the crowd's reaction, Lin Rei shook his head in disappointment. I didn't expect the geniuses of the divine world to persuade me like this. You are worse than a beggar on the street. Sigh. Every word was like a knife. Lin Rei's words completely aroused the crowd's self-esteem. They did not expect the person in front of them to insult them again and again. Bastard, bastard, unforgivable. Everyone, let's go up together and teach this bastard a lesson. We must make him regret. Yes, let's go. When one person opened his mouth, the crowd exploded. When one person acted, it was out of control. When it started with one person, 10 people followed. Later, everyone rushed up to the stage. Oh, that's right. Looking at the crowd's angry appearance, Lin Rei's face was full of smiles. Since that's the case, let's get this over with quickly. After saying this, an evil smile appeared on his face. His figure instantly disappeared and charged into the crowd. Lin Rei, who had turned into a ray of light, shuttled back and forth in the crowd. Everywhere he passed, there would be wails, painful cries and screams. Lin Rei did not notice that while he was shuttling back and forth in the crowd, a beautiful figure appeared on a mountain peak not far away. There was an amused smile on her face as she looked at Lin Rei, who was shuttling back and forth in the crowd. There was a trace of complaint in her eyes. Humph, bastard, since you have dumped me, just you wait. When you enter the Talisman Sect, I will teach you a lesson. There was a trace of hidden bitterness in her voice. If Lin Rei was here, he would definitely be very shocked after seeing the beautiful figure's face. This was because this person was none other than Su Ziqing, who had been mercilessly dumped by Lin Rei previously. However, Su Ziqing was currently dressed as a woman. However, her appearance was indescribably beautiful. At this moment, her appearance was completely different from when she was dressed as a man. In fact, it was even slightly better. F***ck, we have been tricked. This person is a demon, he. At this moment, more than half of the 40 over people in the arena had been flirted with by Lin Rei in less than 15 minutes. Of course, if the crowd knew that Lin Rei had not even used 10% of his strength, what would they do? You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.